together as one. In the name of the Lord Jesus we pray.
Amen.
Amen. And if you join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you please conduct a roll call.
Mayor Gaylor,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones, present. Councilman Boyette,
Present.
Councilwoman Taylor, Councilwoman Matthews,
Present.
Councilwoman Weeks,
Present.
Councilman White.
Present. All right, all present and accounted for. Thank you as always for your time. This is a sizable commitment, especially this week as well. Next, we'll do our agenda. Council agenda has been presented. I know there has been some conversation. Are there any changes to be made to the agenda before we adopt it?
Mayor, I'd like to ask that we remove consent agenda item 7.1 to new business items needing
Right.
individual attention.
Yes, ma'am. We'll move item 7.1. If it's the will of council, assuming that we vote, we'll move item 7.1. We'll make it 9.6. We'll take it up at the end of new business. All right. Are there any other changes, council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as revised?
So moved.
All right. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any further debate? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. All right. We have an agenda. All right. We'll begin with some recognitions and presentations. I believe that our first presentation is from Miss Olivia Lancaster. And council, just for what it's worth, all of these recognitions and presentations, none of these require council action or votes. These are, for our information. Welcome.
I'll move it. This is not the beginning. Oh.
There you go. It may have a slight delay at first.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Olivia Lancaster, and I'm Miss Goldsboro's Teen 2025. My community service initiative is called Sound of Smiles, and the current drive that I'm doing right now is the Babies and Bears Drive. So this is my current team right now. It's just myself and my sister. But what we do is we go to different dementia care facilities and sing 50s, 60s, and 70s songs. And what this does, it just brings comfort and it makes them feel cared for, the dementia patients. And we're trying to get more volunteers involved, and we're hoping that you can help us with that. So what is this drive? So this drive is a community-wide drive collecting baby dolls and bears for dementia patients. This drive started on February 23rd, and it's going to go into the end of April, but we're thinking about extending it past April to hopefully get more donations. So right now, we currently go to several drop-off locations, or we have several drop-off locations stationed around Wayne County, and these donations will go directly to the dementia care facilities, and that basically helps give them a sense of comfort and companionship. And right now, we currently visit 4 facilities every month, but we're hoping to expand that. So why baby dolls and bears? So there's been many studies that have shown that baby dolls and bears help, number one, reduce anxiety and agitation. It gives them a sense of purpose. It helps them with communication skills, and it helps bring back happy memories. This is one of my ladies that I go and visit at Sutton's nursing home, and every time I go in there, she always has this little baby doll, and she doesn't have people come back and visit her much, so that's the only bit of comfort that she really has. And most of these patients are just left in there and no one ever comes back to visit them. So sometimes we are the only joy that they get to see that whole month, which is really sad. But our goal is to bring them as much comfort as possible with these donations. So these are our current drop-off locations. Right now we have the First Church of Goldsboro, Wayne School of Engineering, which is where I go to school, Waynesboro Ophthalmology, and the Wayne County Museum. So we want to expand the Sound of Smiles mission in many ways. We are in need of website designers, developers, and businesses to help us build a website, because I'm not very good at website development and stuff, but I didn't know if you guys had any contacts that you could help us get a website up and going. And what this is going to do is it's going to help volunteers both sign up and keep track of events, so we can expand our location outreach and get more volunteers out and scheduled to go different places at different times. We're also looking to partner with local choirs and musicians so that we can get more people up and running and out. So church groups, local musicians, school choirs, anybody that would love to come and join us. And we're also looking for a t-shirt sponsor so that when we go into these facilities, people will know who we are and we will be easily recognized by both the residents and the caregivers. So, ways that you guys can help. We want to expand volunteer opportunities in senior care facilities. So we try to get in touch with as many people as we can. And a lot of times it's really hard to get into these facilities because they have very strict policies on who can enter and leave and whatever. And a lot of them know that I'm verified. They know who I am, that I'm Miss Goldsboro's teen. And even then, it's still hard for me to get in there and help these people. So I know if it's hard for me and I'm a verified member of society, that it's hard for everyone else that would like to go in there and help. So I don't know if there's any way that we could have some kind of verification card. When you go in, you can show and say that you are verified and it's okay for you to go in and visit, because I feel like it'd be very hard if we are trying to expand our mission for people to go in and they might not know who they are and not let them in and things of that nature. I've also been working with the state legislator to proclamate a Seniors Comfort Awareness Day, and what I'm hoping that this is going to do is to both bring comfort to the caregivers and the people that are struggling with dementia, because almost everywhere I go, when I talk to people about what I do, they talk about how they've had to deal with their grandma not knowing who they were, or their mom. They walk in the room and they don't know who they are anymore. And it's just such a burden for these families and for the patients themselves to have to carry. So I feel like even if we could make our own county day before the state day. Hopefully that'd be really cool. But it just really helps to spread awareness for both the caregivers and the patients that go through so much pain and heartache every single day. So how you can help, this is basically just a wrap-up of everything I've already said. Advocate for funding that supports comfort therapy and elder care facilities. Connect us with county agencies focused on aging and senior well-being. Help us spread the word. We want to get it out there so people can come and help. Introduce us to potential sponsors for volunteer t-shirts and website development. Support music and comfort therapy programs in elder care facilities and help us get in contact with these facilities. And hopefully help us establish a Seniors Comfort Awareness Day to promote this cause countywide. So join us and help making a difference.
Now, will you be doing the same conversation with county commissioners, if I'm not mistaken? Aren't you on their agenda as well?
I am not sure. Am I?
Not yet?
Not yet.
I knew that was another stop as well. Well, the work, keep it up. Obviously, this presentation is available with the clerk and can be distributed to council members and council members that are able to connect you with folks in their districts and resources. We'll reach out as well.
Okay.
But thank you for your time tonight.
All right.
And
Thank you
please
so
keep up
much.
the
I
good work.
appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Olivia, one thing, if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to partner with you in any way, how do they go about doing that?
So they can contact me through my Instagram and my Facebook, Miss Goldsboro's teen _NC. That's probably the best way to contact me, because they can contact me through like Messenger, online, or they can contact my email, but it's probably honestly better to get in touch through my Instagram or my Facebook.
If you want to take my name, I'll go out there and play some music. I've done that before.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But basically, we're hoping that we can get more people involved. I've had people interested, but they just never followed through with it. So if we could get more volunteers, that would allow me to reach out to more facilities, because I am a very busy person and I try to go to as many places as I can. But if we can get more people involved, like school groups and things, that would help to get more people and more outreach to these people.
I want to give them your email too.
So my email, I don't know if y'all want to write this down. It's livsings @icloud.com, and it's all lowercase. So,
Council, any other comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, thank you as always.
Thank you
Keep
so
up the good
much.
work.
I appreciate it.
Keep doing good things. Council will move to item 4.2, the Community College Month Proclamation. I see the president of our award-winning local community college here in the room with us. Dr. Piper, I'll read the proclamation, and then we'll come down front, give you an opportunity to speak, introduce yourself, and officially hand you a stiffer copy. Okay, perfect. Community College Month Proclamation. Whereas the United States of America is home to more than 1,000 two-year associate degree granting institutions that serve nearly 12 million students. And whereas community colleges are a uniquely American educational model designed to guarantee access to affordable, high-quality higher education for all people. And whereas community colleges guarantee fair admissions for all students, attracting the most demographically and socioeconomically diverse students. And whereas without community colleges, many American students would not be able to access higher education. And whereas North Carolina's great 58 community colleges provide opportunities for more than 500,000 students annually. And whereas Goldsboro's own Wayne Community College, which regularly proves itself to be the best of the 58, improves the lives of students with education and training, helps businesses and industries stay current and grow, offers community members cultural experiences, and serves as a vital center of the community, all efforts designed to meet the diverse needs of the people it serves. And whereas every dollar that students invest in their education at Wayne Community College, they receive a return of $5.30 in higher future earnings. And whereas Wayne Community College not only contributes to the personal growth, health, and success of Goldsboro's residents, it also adds more than $114 million annually to the local economy. And whereas the Congress, by Joint Resolution 158, created National Community College Month to recognize the institution's significant contributions to the strength, vitality, and prosperity of our nation. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Goldsboro City Council does hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Community College Month in the City of Goldsboro, and encourage all citizens to observe this month by learning about Wayne Community College's myriad offerings and its value to our economy and our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affix the seal of the City of Goldsboro, North Carolina, this the 7th day of April 2025. Quick test. Right. Dr. Piper, I'm sure many people in here know who you are, but if you'd like to introduce yourself, please. Microphone's yours.
So I'm Dr. Patty Piper, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of being the president of Wayne Community College. Wayne Community College is a place where everybody is welcome. We have an open door policy. We have programs for everybody. So it's exciting that the City Council and the Mayor, I know our interim city manager, take the time to recognize Community College Month. We do serve a large purpose in this community. We have a lot that we can offer, and I appreciate all the support, not only the City Council and the Mayor, and we have a current employee, Miss Brandy Matthews, that's on the City Council, that is a member of our team that serve our community. So I appreciate this very much. I would also like to recognize two people here. We have one of our Board of Trustees member, Dr. Anthony Slater, is a Board of Trustee member for us, and Miss Bilma Iniguez. She is our resident photographer, works in the Office of Communication, who would like to take a picture.
And Ms. Matthews, the program that Ms. Matthews is so active in, obviously the Reentry Council, but also does a tremendous amount of work in the Continuing Education Department. It cannot go unsaid the amount of work that the college does in traditional academic, career and technical training, also in college transfer, also in serving those who are getting their feet back underneath them to get to where that they can enter into coursework and enter into programs. You truly do serve an incredible cross-section of this community. And those who are not fully versed on all the different offerings, I would encourage you to spend a little bit of time on Google, because it's very much worth it. So with that, we'll do pictures. Exactly. Next, we'll move to item 4.3, a month of the military child proclamation. If you'll give me just one, sir. Month of the Military Child Proclamation. Whereas thousands of brave Americans have demonstrated their courage,
I'm not sure if she's here.
Okay. You are, there you are. Perfect. All right. You were tucked away. Perfect. Just making sure. Month of the Military Child Proclamation. Whereas thousands of brave Americans have demonstrated their courage and commitment to freedom by serving in our country's armed forces in active duty posts around the world. And whereas nearly 2 million children have at least one parent currently serving active military duty. And whereas Goldsboro, North Carolina is the home of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and the Wayne County Public School System has approximately 2,000 military-connected students, approximately 11% of its student population, who are children of active duty, reserve, retired, or veterans. And whereas the United States Department of Defense celebrates the month of April as the month of the military child, further highlighting the important role military children play in the armed forces community. And whereas the children of our service members are major contributors to the strength of our parents and make significant contributions to family, schools, our community, the state, and the nation, despite repeated and prolonged absences of one or both parents. Whereas parents serve in the military, their kids serve too, and it is fitting for our city to pay tribute to military children for their commitment, their struggles, and their unconditional support of our troops. Now therefore be it resolved, the Goldsboro City Council does hereby proclaim April 2025 as the month of the military child, and April 11th as Purple Up Day for Wayne County Public Schools. We encourage all school personnel and City of Goldsboro residents to recognize the contributions of our military families and to celebrate the spirit of military children across our city and nation by wearing purple on April 11th as an outward symbol of appreciation for our youngest heroes. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of the City of Goldsboro, North Carolina, this the 7th day of April 2025. And as always, if you'd like to introduce yourself and talk about any of the programs that Wayne County Public Schools has going on, obviously we'd like to hear.
Thank you for having me. I'm Heather Winstead. I'm the District Military Liaison with Wayne County Public Schools. And thank you for proclaiming April as Month of the Military Child. Come on in, actually. This is Christy Barnes-Williams, School Liaison, and she's on Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. We just left the school board doing our annual presentation as well, so we appreciate you guys waiting for us. This Friday is Purple Up Day, and at 10:30 downtown at the Dandelion there, we're going to do a community support photo. So we invite all of you all to come out with your purple on, and let's show our military kids in our community our support. We have a lot going on within our schools and our community this week and this month in general. So if you see purple everywhere, that's why you're seeing it. They are our youngest heroes on Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Their families serve, but they serve too. So I'm going to pass the mic to Christy and let her introduce herself.
Ooh, good evening. I'm Christy Barnes-Williams, like Heather said, the school liaison at Seymour Johnson. I'm winded because we tried to beat the train that stopped us, but we made it. So yes, we are honored to be able to support our youngest heroes this month in April. And again, wear your purple on the 11th to support kids and go to some of the schools and just see what they're doing.
We are incredibly fortunate to have both the services of you that you're able to provide on base to connecting families, which is only getting more difficult every day, I know, and the work that Wayne County Public Schools does. We have a fantastic board superintendent. We're so grateful that they continue to see wisdom in investing in these ways. So, Ms. Henry, if you would.
Miss Christie, you have another one standing out there.
She's my shadow for you. Thank you, sir.
There you go.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Just in time.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
When we start going there, what? have you seen? There she is. All right, perfect. Next, we'll move to item 4.4, Volunteer Appreciation Week proclamation. National Volunteer Appreciation Week proclamation. Whereas a sense of caring and a desire to share have motivated many men and women to volunteer their time and services to the needs of others in the Goldsboro community. And whereas volunteers help the sick, the needy, the disabled, and enrich our lives through the arts, recreation, and cultural activities. And whereas the City of Goldsboro has many dedicated volunteers who give their time and expertise on boards and committees that benefit our citizens. And whereas volunteer action is a powerful force for the solution of problems, and volunteers are increasingly recognized as an important partner with governmental agencies. And whereas volunteers have become an essential part of any prosperous community, and volunteer services help expand programs and stretch our tax dollars. And whereas Governor Josh Stein and the NC Commission on Volunteerism and Community Service recognizes volunteers across the state for their contributions to each 100 counties, and United Way of Wayne County will recognize those volunteers and all Wayne County volunteers on April 16th at 5:30 p.m. at the Paramount Theater. Now, therefore, the Goldsboro City Council does hereby proclaim the week of April 20th through the 26th, 2025 as National Volunteer Appreciation Week, and urge all citizens to recognize and thank our volunteers across this country and within Goldsboro as we acknowledge the importance of our volunteers and take the time to officially thank them for all they do. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of the City of Goldsboro, this the 7th day of April 2025. All right. Ms. Archibald, good to see you again. It's been a little while. There you go. Well, there you go. You introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Sherry Archibald with the United Way of Wayne County, and it's a pleasure to be here just to recognize all of our volunteers in Wayne County. I do want to make a correction. We've had to have a shift in the date, so it's April the 15th that we are recognizing volunteers all over the county. So this is a great way for us to invite so many wonderful nonprofits in our community to bring their volunteers and be recognized. We will have a reception. Please let us know because we want to recognize your nonprofit. So we are at the United Way of Wayne County, and so we'd love for you to contact us and let us know. We'll be able to also recognize those that were nominated at the state level, and we do have one medallion. There's 20 across the state, and we have a medallion couple that will be recognized that day as well. Thank you.
Pilar? All right. All right. Not telling you where I'm parked. What's what you? Yeah. Madam Clerk, item 4.5 will be presented in person at a later date, right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. For everyone watching, item 4.5 will be read into the record and then will be presented in person at an event later this month. Proclamation honoring the accomplishments of Elder Ideen Lewis George. Whereas Elder Ideen Lewis George has been a pillar in the Goldsboro community for decades, founding the Holy Ghost Drawing Center Community Crisis Center, HGD CCC, and whereas upon its founding in 1982, she served as president and CEO and has impacted the lives of countless families and individuals in the city. And whereas Elder George has earned respect and admiration for her charitable work, both locally and statewide. She served on the advisory board for the News Correctional Institution and the board of directors for the Wayne County Emergency Food and Shelter Program. And whereas under Elder George's leadership, HGDC CCC has grown into a 15-room, 8,500 square foot facility dedicated to community service. This center has provided hundreds of hot meals for over 40 years, operates a clothing closet, and offers bathing facilities for the homeless. And whereas seeing the need to help the helpless, Elder George established a food pantry, offering free groceries to low-income families. She also repurposed the original HGDC building into the Albert Day Transitional House, offering housing for the homeless. Whereas as a testament to her humanitarian efforts, she received prestigious accolades with the WTVD Jefferson Award and the Nancy Susan Reynolds Award, both recognizing her outstanding community service in North Carolina. Whereas Elder George's lasting impact on the community through the success of HGDC CCC will be felt for generations to come and will always be a treasured part of the city of Goldsboro and its history. Now, therefore, the Goldsboro City Council does hereby proclaim April 19, 2025 as a day of gratitude, reflection, and recognition for the life and accomplishments of Elder Ideen Lewis George and for all her years of service to the city of Goldsboro, North Carolina. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of the city of Goldsboro, North Carolina, this the 7th day of April, 2025. Very, very well earned. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our Section 4 recognitions and presentations. We'll now move forward into public hearings. This is different from the public comment period. The public hearings on the agenda will have items 5.1, 2, and 3, and 4, although I believe 2 will be quite abbreviated. So we'll begin with item 5.1. Each of these are, the first 3 of these are special use, which is the elevated standard for admissibility of evidence. I caution council just to ensure that we are aware of the special use guidelines and rules, and I'll seek counsel from our council if and when we run into any stumbling blocks there. So with that, Mr. Livingston, I'll turn it over to you if you'll get us started, or get Mr. Talton to get us started on item 5.1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. We have Kenny Talton here to introduce Special Use Permit 2024 Jupiter Blue Tattoo. He will need to be sworn in before he starts his presentation.
Good evening, Council. Good evening. Thank you. Does this work? Mayor, thank you. It's good to see everybody tonight, and I'm not anticipating a long night with public hearings. Hopefully we can get through this pretty quickly. Tonight we'll be discussing the first public hearing issue, Jupiter Blue, the tattoo parlor that is proposing to be on Parkway Drive, 1210 Parkway Drive, Suite B. Tonight I've started off showing you some pictures of the location before I got into the details of the actual permit, and to give you some location idea as to where the location will be. Again, most of you know where Parkway Drive is, across the street from the YMCA, along with other commercial shopping centers and specialty parks for law firms, accounting firms, as such. Again, this is the location, 1210 Parkway Drive. Next slide, please. Thank you. So again, the owner is E-Park LLC. The applicant is Miss Mary Medlin. Miss Medlin, are you here this evening? Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. The zoning for the current location is general business. The land use designation is commercial. Again, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to operate a tattoo parlor. Again, this is a permitted use in the general business zoning district, and again, a special use permit is required and approved by City Council in order for the applicant to operate at this location. This is a zoning slide of the particular location. Next slide, please. Here's a brief description of the general business district, established to accommodate the widest range of uses, providing general goods and services to the community. This is our land use map, which is commercial. The general business zoning district is a corresponding zoning district within the commercial land use designation. Next slide. Due to the nature of the proposal, a TRC will not be required. If the special use is approved, a building permit and final inspection will be required for the upfit of the existing tenant space to ensure that all life safety codes have been approved for the facility and before occupancy of the facility. Hours of operation are 9 to 8 p.m., 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., employees 1, with private collection services available. At this time, council may ask planning staff or the applicant any questions that they may have. Any person wishing to speak or give testimony may do so under oath. Mayor, after council hears anyone who wishes to speak, you will have the option to close the public hearing and council can enter into deliberation, or you have the option also to continue the hearing. You have worksheets within your packets tonight. We'll go through each one of those 4 findings of fact. As you'll see in your packet, the red comments are staff comments. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll use these 4 findings to determine if the special use permit shall be issued. You have the ability to place conditions upon the approval as long as there is evidence in the record to support the condition. As the mayor stated before, tonight your decision is based utilizing the quasi-judicial proceedings. Your decision is going to be based off of evidence produced at tonight's public hearing. So the staff report, any testimony that you hear tonight, any factual statements that are made under oath, all these things come into play in your decision making for this decision. At this time, Mayor, I'll sit down and I'll see if the applicant would like to speak.
If you will, what we'll do, council,
Yes,
are there any questions right now for planning staff, Mr. Talton?
I don't have. Well, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Could you put the picture back up of the shop in the strip mall?
Yes, sir. Might need IT's help to get back to the strip mall.
We don't have that in the packet, do we? I was looking, I couldn't find it.
Should be in your packet. There it is, right there.
Not that one, the one, the actual picture.
The actual picture, you're
Yeah.
correct. That is not in your
It's not,
packet.
yeah,
IT, if you could go back to the first pic. One more. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the one that had the florist in it,
That's correct.
and it has a church in it, right? Philadelphia.
There may be a church in there, yes, sir. There's also, I was going to say, Jupiter Blue has other entities there as well. I want to say it's a nail and spa salon as well. And like you said, a florist. And the church, I believe you're correct. There is a church in there.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's all I want.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, council, it's our practice to then ask the applicant if they would like to come forward and speak and be able to ask any questions of the applicant. After that, then we would formally open the public hearing. But Ms. Bell, if you please approach the clerk. And if you have any brief descriptions you'd like to offer that complements or goes along with what Mr. Talton offered, that's fine. If not, then we could just simply ask questions. But the floor is yours.
Yeah, so Jupiter Blue is my salon and art gallery, so I have individual suites for everyone there. So the applicant is actually, it's not a whole tattoo parlor, but just one of my suites itself would be for her. She is a great referred person to my business. She worked at another barbershop, and she was looking to move downtown, but there are too many local shops there. So I'm very excited to have her be part of my business and diversify that way.
Council, are there any questions for the applicant?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
What was the hours again?
So the hours I listed were 9 to 8 p.m. She generally probably wouldn't be working that late.
Monday
She does
through
have
Friday,
a few.
Monday through Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
Council, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll let you step down.
Okay.
And then we will formally open the public hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a public hearing for 5.1. This is SU 2024 Jupiter Blue Tattoo located on Parkway Drive. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak, please approach the clerk.
Just remember, Mayor, they will have to get sworn in.
Yeah, approach the clerk. Thank you for that reminder. All right, second call. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on SU 2024, please approach the clerk. Third and final call. On SU 2024, this is a public hearing for SU 2024 Jupiter Blue Tattoo. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak, please approach the clerk. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we will invite Mr. Touton back up. Council, are there any, after we've had just a couple of seconds there to think through it, are there any additional questions that we have before we start going through the 4 different motions for Mr. Touton or for the applicant? Hearing none, there you go. Have a seat back. Or if there's anything else that you wanted to add from the brief.
Board, this is an existing shopping center. With regards to any concerns, traffic related or site related, we don't see any with this particular site. I've reviewed the other findings here, and we have no issues or concerns with them as well. I'll leave it with you. Thank you.
So in council, now there are 4 motions, each of which have to be answered in the affirmative. I guess that's the right way to phrase it. But must be answered in a certain way to be able to grant the special use permit. I will read the motion. It's been the cleanest way to do it so far. And if someone wishes to motion the alternative, simply indicate so. Is there a motion that the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety?
So moved.
All right. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. Motion number 2. Is there a motion that the use will not substantially injure the beneficial use of adjoining or abutting property?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Motion's been made. Is there a second? All right, motion's been made and properly seconded that the use will not substantially injure the beneficial use of adjoining or abutting property. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. We'll move to motion number 3. Is there a motion that the use will be in harmony with existing development and uses within the area in which it is located? All right, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded that the use will be in harmony with existing development and uses within the area in which it is located. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. Motion number 4. Is there a motion that the use will be in general conformity with the City of Goldsboro's comprehensive land use plan?
So moved.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second? All right. Motion has been made and properly seconded that the use will be in general conformity with the City of Goldsboro's comprehensive land use plan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. All 4 motions having passed in the affirmative, SU 2024 is granted. Mr. Touton, we will move forward with item 5.2. And I do see the note that it was withdrawn, but if you simply need to state that for the record, we can go that route.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Again, as the mayor said, this the applicant has requested that her application be withdrawn due to some more unforeseen circumstances regarding development costs associated with this particular project. We have sent out notifications as required by North Carolina state law. As such, she did want me to let you know that she is withdrawing. We do not have that in writing as of this time. However, I can say under oath that she spoke to me Friday afternoon and stated that that is what her desire to do. I will give you just a picture. If you'll notice, Arrington Bridge Road and US 117 North. This is the property on the right before you come upon the tire warehouse, the large warehouse facility on your right. But this is some property that has actually sat there since Matthew and Florence. Hopefully one day we'll see that property develop. Again, Mayor, at this point in time, I don't know that there's any other reason to act unless City Attorney says so. Okay, thank you. All right.
So with that one, do we, as you do not have it in writing, but you do have a conversation that you believe to be a true intent or a true expression of the intent, do you desire for us to table this one, allow you to get something in writing, or just simply take no action and move to the next item?
I can make it a condition that we have that in writing, and it'll be approved conditional on it being in writing, and or we can table it. It's your desire, whatever you desire to do.
Madam Counsel?
It would need to be in writing, but she would have to resubmit everything upon that withdrawal, even if you table it tonight.
Okay. She withdrew, and so that's the difference between saying that I want to delay it or something like that, and then have the public hearing.
Okay. So at this point, if there is truly no further action to take, this one is just simply resolved, right? Yes. Correct. All right, perfect.
Very well.
All right. Then I will consider item 5.2 resolved. And if there were to come anything, just again, for those of you watching, this one would have to start all over again if the person was to bring it back anyway. So all is done. Item 5.3, Mr. Tout.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Councilmen and women, we're going to move forward to SU 3-25. This is Carter Lumber Company. So according to the applicant, the proposed lumber and building supply sales operation, which you will see here, let me just back up and say that this property is located at 3715 Central Heights Road. This property used to be occupied by Packaging Corporation of America, and previous to that it was occupied by Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse and Distribution. This operation will offer a variety of services primarily focused on building and construction industry. The services include retail sales of lumber and building materials, design and estimation, delivery, project support, and home improvement services. An existing covered accessory structure located in the side yard of the property will be utilized as a lumber yard for storing building materials, retail sales, loading and delivery of products by customers and employees of the business. And for that reason, that is why the outside storage component comes into play here, which a special use permit is required in order to have that component as part of this operation. As you can see, this site has maintained many of the features of these in the site development process, which is landscaping, screening measures in place, and such. And here's the driveway off of Central Heights Road. We'll talk more about that once we get into the findings of fact. We'll progress to the next slide. Thank you. Again, 3715 Central Heights Road. The owner is J&J Rental, LLC. The applicant is Carter Lumber Company, care of Mr. Charles R. Price. Is any representative with Carter Lumber here tonight? Very well, thank you. I apologize, folks. It's been some time since I presented. These meetings now are at 5:30 instead of 7, so I apologize for the miscommunication there. The zoning for the property is general industry. Land use designation is industrial. The request again is for a lumber and building supplies operation. So the Unified Development Code basically requires that there are certain conditions that must be followed if you're going to have any outside storage. One is all outside storage areas shall be located in the rear and side yards. Number two, they shall be enclosed by an 8-foot high solid fence set back from adjoining property lines. The height of the fence may be reduced to 6 feet if the applicant provides evidence or written confirmation to the planning director that the items proposed to be stored will not exceed 5 feet in height, and that no loading or unloading of material shall occur outside the fenced area, and that material shall be not be stacked to be visible from any public right-of-way or adjoining property line. Next slide, please. All right, here's the current zoning map of the property, showing it's in the general business zoning district, showing also that the Central Heights Road is right here in front of the property with the driveway leading to the actual warehouse. Next slide, please. Again, we've said it's in the general business zoning district. This is a comprehensive land use map, which shows that it's in the mixed use one commercial land use, mixed use, yes, land use designation. Due to the nature of the proposal, a TRC is not required. If the special use is approved, site plan approval will be required before issuance of the permit. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. with approximately 20 employees scheduled to work at the site. Private or city collection services will be available for refuse. Next slide, please. So again, Mayor, we're back at any questions of staff. We can take them at this time, and then we'll go into the findings of fact for you to consider in making your decision.
You have to ask this. Is it your expectation that those are 20 new jobs, or are those relocated from other facilities right here in Goldsboro, Wayne County, or do you know?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll inquire that of the applicant.
Okay.
Council, any questions for Mr. Talton at this time? Seeing none, it's our practice that we offer the applicant the opportunity to come up and brief council and field any questions, and then we'll open the public comment period proper. Please approach.
Good evening. My name is Charles Price. I'm Vice President with Carter Lumber Company. Basically, Carter Lumber has been around since 1932. We have around 180 locations in 15 states. We're about the 5th largest lumber and building material supplier in the U.S. We have a pending purchase, as they stated, at 3715 Central Heights Road. The property consists of 12.17 acres with around 60,000 square foot of a building that exists today. And there's another outbuilding around 8,900 square feet for outside building material storage as well. So we do have a pending purchase here, and we're here to try to get the special use permit granted to allow us to put a business in.
Council, are there any comments or questions of the applicant?
I just have one.
Yes, sir.
With your business, are you going to be also offering the gusset plates, that type of deal, fasteners?
We could potentially have those to buy for that, but we're not planning on any manufacturing at this location. So like if it was going to be like trusses or wall panels or things like that. But if it deems fit for this area, if you needed to pick them up yourself to build, we would have that type. Okay. We are a full service building material supplier, so it'll just depend on the market. Primarily it'll be lumber, a lot of contractor oriented, but we do, however, want to be able to sell to the public. We're not like a Home Depot or Lowe's where it's going to have a large showroom like that. It'll just be a small contractor showroom. Then we do want to offer the public to come in and buy if necessary.
Council, any other comments or questions? I'll repeat my question
Yeah.
to you. The jobs, the 20 jobs that were mentioned, would those be relocated from other facilities, or those
That's all planned on, most of the 20 jobs will be planned on brand new.
Okay.
For this area. I could give some insight. We have a location, the management group out of Kempsville, Virginia is called Kempsville Building Materials. We have a location in Sanford, North Carolina, then Elizabeth City down in Outer Banks. We also have stores out throughout Charlotte, Lexington. So this is kind of we're already feeding this area from different aspects, so there'll be new jobs created with that under a Kempsville Building Material Division.
All right, Council, any other comments or questions from the applicant before we open the public comment proper? All right, sir, have a seat.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll move to the public hearing. Item 5.3 on the agenda, SU 325 for Carter Lumber Company located on the west side of Central Heights Road between East New Hope and Courtney Road. Is there anyone wishing to come forward and speak on item 5.3? If you would, please approach the clerk and be sworn in. And if you would, pause just for us.
Pardon me? Yes. I don't think I brought it up.
If you would pause for there you go. And if you would just pause for just a second, we'll get these distributed and we'll get the timer set up, and then we'll get going.
Mayor, is there a timer on this one? Special use?
Yes.
There is one on this one?
No, not on this one. No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
You won't need that one.
I'm Doug Ferris. We're the agents for Shane Smith, who's the property owner. Some of you may know. Just a few points I want to make. I'm a picture worth 1,000 words guy. It's important to me, I think, that the operation is almost invisible. That's a good thing. You have to look for that building when you're right up and down that road. It's not in your face. It's been an industrial facility for 40 years. And the previous use was exactly what we're talking about here. When Lowe's was there, it was exact same use. And so if you flip to the second page, highlighted is vision when, as, and if outside buildings are they'll be stuck behind the trees. You won't even be able to see them from the neighbors. And I think that's important. So we're very sensitive. The fact there's a lot of good natural screening there already. And and the roads, I was out there today just double checking the road, driveway out actually fans out. That's important for trucks going in and out, which mostly will go about 3 miles north up to the bypass, because this will be serving eastern North Carolina. So I think given its historical use, given its design, given the screening, given the planning that's going into it, we don't find this an offensive use, and hope that you will vote to approve this. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Anyone else to come forward and speak on item 5.3 SU 325? Second call, anyone wishing to come forward and speak or for SU 325? Third and final, which I realize may actually be the fourth, but nonetheless, the fourth and final, SU 325 is public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and we'll enter our deliberations. Mr. Talton, if you'd please come back up. Council, are there any comments or questions for Mr. Talton on the brief? Seeing none, Mr. Talton, this may not wear you out after all.
Oh, that's fine. No problem at all, Mayor. I did want to let you know we did, even though we're actually looking at the use itself being approved tonight, of course, the project will go through a site plan review process just to make sure that it does comply with all our standards, any supplemental standards along with the special use. But we did reach out to NCDOT. As you know, the space is narrow along Central Heights Road and along New Hope Road. I want you to know that one of their representatives spoke to me today, Mr. Marcus Lee, under the guise of Ms. Jennifer Collins, who serves as our District 4 engineer for this area. They are not going to require any road improvements for the site due to existing conditions. Of course, along Central Heights Road, there is a cemetery there. You also have a food line shopping center to the right. They just don't have a lot to work with. Knowing the conditions that are present at this time there and along New Hope Road, I think they'll be making some recommendations to the applicant. But so far as any additional improvements to the site, they have informed me they will not be requiring anything additional. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. Again, as the gentleman said, the site itself is somewhat subdued, and it meets a lot of our requirements already, but we will make sure that it's fully compliant with our UDO requirements. Any other questions?
Questions, comments, council? All right, seeing none, Mr. Cotton, you can be seated, and council will enter our deliberations. Are there comments, questions, or are we ready to move forward with motions? All right, we'll move forward in the same format as before. I will read the motion. If anyone wants to move in the alternative, just simply indicate so. So motion number 1, is there a motion that the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety?
So moved.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, call the vote. Please raise your hand. All opposed? Was that opposed?
No, I said yes.
Yes, okay. Motion passes unanimously.
I was voting on.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I was voting online.
I just want to make sure that I was not logging correctly. Thank you. Motion number 2. Is there a motion that the use will not substantially injure the beneficial use of adjoining or abutting property?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. Motion number 3. Is there a motion that the use will be in harmony with existing development and uses within the area for which it is located? Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and properly seconded that the use would be in harmony with existing development and uses within the area in which it is located. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. And 4th, is there a motion that the use will be in general conformity with the City of Goldsboro Comprehensive Land Use Plan?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded that the use will be in general conformity with the City of Goldsboro Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. Motions 1 through 4 all being answered in the affirmative. SU 325 is granted and approved. All right. Mr. Talton, if you'd please move us forward with item 5.4.
Council, this is our last item, our last public hearing tonight. Thank you for your patience. So tonight we are having the last of 3 sessions on an annexation review process. This is for contiguous annexation. This is property that currently abuts existing corporate limits of the City of Goldsboro. Property is on the west side of Highway 111 South between East US 70 Highway and Southeast Drive. Gonna need a little more help. Thank you, IT. So here's the property. To the north of the property, you'll see an existing Dollar General. Just across the street from this Dollar General is the Food Line Shopping Center and the Bojangles. And let's see. And that's all I can think of just now. But again, just to the north of the Dollar General there that you see here is Daniels & Daniels Contracting Office, again on Highway 111 South. The parcel that we're looking at tonight is this one right here. We'll move forward. Here's a survey of the property, consisting of approximately 4.41 acres. Thank you. Here's a picture of the property from the Bojangles. And next slide. Thank you. So again, the City Council at their meeting on March the 3rd, 2025 requested that the City Clerk examine the subject voluntary contiguous annexation petition for sufficiency. On March 6, 2025, the City Clerk completed the examination and determined that the petition was sufficient. Sufficiency indicates that the proposed area for annexation meets the standards for contiguous annexation as specified in General Statutes 168-31. City Council at their meeting on March 17th scheduled a public hearing for the proposed annexation. Public hearing notice was properly advertised, stating the time, place, and purpose for tonight's meeting. Next slide, please. Again, the petitioner is J&J Daniels Farming Enterprises with 4.41 acres of subject property. It is zoned general business. It's properly zoned. At this time for the, the use has not been formally, the site has not been applied for formally, but we have had some discussions that it will be used for commercial development. It is also in the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base noise overlay contour, and if the property is developed in the future, it will have to comply with our UDO and Seymour Johnson's development regulation. Again, the land use designation is commercial, existing use is agricultural. Next slide, please. So the property meets the standards for contiguous annexation. It does contain an adequate property description and annexation plat of the proposed area. The property is contiguous to the City of Goldsboro's primary corporate limits. The petition is signed by and includes all owners of the real property line in the area. The applicant acknowledges that there are no zoning rights have not been acquired according to GS 160D 108 108.1. Next slide, please. The city will be able to provide fire protection to the subject property as well as police protection. Refuse collection will also be available by private contractors or through the city. City sewer is available. Water, however, is available through Wayne Water District. So we did some calculations for the property. At this time, it's under the farmed use program. So the current taxes, the assessed value of the property is only $5,290. But with the proposed development, it will be taken out of the farm use program and treated as commercial property. So the new tax value at this point in time is estimated to be around $3 million if the proposal, if the applicant formally applies for the proposed use. Estimated revenue at this time, considering the city's tax rate, our share will be $24,600. Next slide, please. So this will be located in District 2 if it is annexed into the city limits of Goldsboro. Next slide, please. The proposed annexation meets the city's policy requirements as outlined in all the above items and in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 168-31. And the city planning has no objections to the petition and recommends approval to City Council. Are there any questions, Mayor? Council?
I would just simply ask this one. The letter from the base, as I'm reading it correctly, each of them states it would be compatible with this protocol. That's base speak for no issues.
That is correct, as long as they meet the noise attenuation requirements for the 30 decibel contour.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Also, I forgot to tell you, in your report, you'll see departmental reports that we highlighted in the presentation tonight. If you'd like to read through that, feel free to do so. And again, if you have any other questions at this time, just let us know.
All right, Council, are there any comments or questions? Wait, from Mr. Talton before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, we will open the public hearing for item 5. I'm right, aren't I?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I saw both y'all look at each other, and that made me nervous. Item 5.4, contiguous annexation petition. We are now in a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak? Second call. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak for item 5.4 on our agenda? Last and final call. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak for item 5.4, contiguous annexation petition impacting west side of South US Highway 111 will come forward and speak. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And council, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented, or are there further questions?
I make a motion that we accept the item as presented for approval.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded to adopt the ordinance as presented, effective April 7th, 2025. It has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. All right, 5.4 also passes. We officially just expanded, guys. Congratulations. It's a good day. It's a good day. All right, we will now move to section 6. Ms. Getz, take your time. We'll get the sign-up sheet for those wishing to speak in the public comment section. And then we will hear those wishing to come forward.
Sorry. First speaker is Alfonso Edwards.
Good evening, ma'am and sir.
I'd like to say good evening to the mayor and everyone else. My name is Alfonso Edwards, and this is my wife, Gloria Edwards. We live at 105 Woods Mill Road in the Hunter Creek subdivision. We have lived there since August the 21st, 1990. This August will be 35 years. We have paid more than $35,000 into city taxes. We are here to recommend what the proposed tax rate for the city should be for the year 25. I have submitted a chart that compares 22, 23, and 24, and 25. 25 reflects what my proposed tax would be at the 0.642. My property tax from 2022 was valued at $168,370. It has increased to $249,870, an increase of $81,500 and 48%. If you pay attention to the last column, I am proposing what my tax would be. If you look down and increase each year, you will see that it has, I'm recommending an increase of $211 for what my tax were for in 24. Based on the homeowner insurance is going to increase 40% or more. Also that the economy is bad, I recommend that the proposed rate would not be more than the 0.642. Thank you for that consideration.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next speaker is John Peacock.
Good evening, Mayor Gaylor and members of the City Council. My name is John Peacock, and my home is at 202 North Slocum Street here in Goldsboro. I'm a Goldsboro native, and with the exception of 14 years living elsewhere to pursue a career in Chamber of Commerce Management, I've lived here all of my life. And like many of you, I came back to this city, or you may have chosen to stay in this city, which I have done. Moved back here in '95, hoping to possibly help make a difference in my community. Many of the issues that were pressing in the mid-'90s are not around today, but I've watched how the city has always approached these in a very proactive and very state-of-the-art manner. But I recall when I came back here in the mid-'90s that the heart of this great city was in trouble. The downtown of Goldsboro was dying, and there was no plan. And negative conversations about downtown were everywhere. So the one that sticks in my head the most came from a realtor with an office on Berkeley Boulevard at the time, who came in my office and said, "John, there's no reason to do anything with downtown other than to put a fence around it and let it just die a natural death. It has no future, and it doesn't have a future in any community." So changes we knew, though, were underway. Changes were starting to take place on this body, and the staff leadership of the development of downtown was having a change. And the need for a plan, a vision, was agreed upon by all. This body, this council, bought into the redevelopment vision that was put in place, and working in partnership, a master plan for streetscape, the hub, and the transit facility emerged. This body agreed to do whatever was needed to make the necessary unique funding efforts possible and make that a reality. And this body, as many of you know, some firsthand, were criticized by uninformed and the ill-informed few who thought it best to take this money and fill potholes and pave their own respective neighborhoods. But the council stood firm and held their ground despite the criticism. But today, the vision and forward thinking of this body to structure Goldsboro's downtown efforts has become a model for many communities across the state. The successful effort of the master plan in the completion of streetscape, the hub, and the transit facility is a wonderful example of what leaders across the country call the perfect alignment of three components necessary for ongoing economic success: strong plan, strong people, both elected, volunteer, and staff.
Good. Let me stop you. However, if there are any additional comments, please make sure that they're delivered to the clerk, and they'll be delivered to council members through email.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peacock.
Our next speaker is Zachary Branch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Zachary Branch, like you said. This is my co-worker,
Rory Springs. Army Strong. No, anyways, we're here because we want to talk about the stand down. We want W.A. Foster, we want to use that building, but because we work for the state, the Department of Commerce, we are not allowed to use money, and so we're just asking to be able to use the center, for you all to let us use your center, so we can do a stand down for the veterans, homeless veterans. The homeless veterans, we try to get them reintegrated back into society. We want them to be productive citizens and contributing members of our community. And so what we offer health care, we offer training, food, shelter, and we offer other resources that we can help. But, something they just need a hand up. It's not a hand out, it's a hand up. And we're just asking that, to consider us for using the W.A. Foster, only because it's within the bus system, the route system, because they're homeless. So we want to make it so they can all be able to get to what we're doing for them. And once again, we offer like health care, haircuts, dental. We help them fill out for VA assistance, or in VA monetary, like the benefits, so if they can get more money or something, we could give them some money, and we just want you all to consider serving those who served. How about that? Mr. Reyes?
Well, stand down is nothing new here in Goldsboro. Matter of fact, Wayne County Patriot, I think this November will be the 13th one. Yeah. And the past 2 or 3 years, we've been at the Armory. But the Army is far out there. And each year we're getting less people, but more and more vendors. And so we've been searching for somewhere close to hold the event. We was at the Goldsboro,
We're at the Herman Park.
huh?
You were at
Park.
the Herman Park.
Yes.
Yeah, we was at the Herman Park one time, but the building's condemned. And we was at the event center, excuse me.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, several times there.
Still have 30 seconds. You're good.
Okay.
That was the warning ding.
Oh.
Yeah.
So really, we had to ask your assistance and your mercy to give us permission to use the facility so we can work with Warm Body, Warm Soul. That's our people back in the
That's
back
our
there.
501.
501. That's it.
Thank you. And council, so you know, this is on the agenda as item 9.1 later this evening. This is a perfect example of why the public comment period happens before we get into our business, so that we can hear the comments of the people. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
I do have a,
Yes, sir.
So I work for the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs in Raleigh myself. So before you leave, could I get your information so we can partner with you to make sure that we make this happen? Even if we don't allow WA Foster, cause I'm not gonna get ahead because that's the will of the council. But we're still gonna partner and figure out how to make it happen.
You're welcome to do that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Howard Soule.
Good evening. Appreciate you guys giving me some time. That 3 minutes is way too short. I'm already getting the nerves. So I just wanted to take a minute or two just to introduce myself. I've introduced myself to a few of the council members, but my company is Legacy Impact Capital, Legacy Impact Group. We're a nonprofit development company that has been involved in Goldsboro since 2017. We were brought here as an initiative in a partnership with DGDC through a recommendation with Self Help Credit Union. Our time here with them has been, they brought us here to help create a charter school and redevelop part of the downtown area. With that effort, with Officer Elliott, she helped us as a board member to get that open. We spent some time in the downtown area really trying to identify a property that we could utilize to put the school. Could not find enough space, could not find enough of an initiative there, but through that process we were able to identify some properties, ended up buying 2 lots and 3 houses on Virginia Street, ended up buying the property across from Union Station between Walnut Street and Chestnut on South Carolina, and have really began an initiative to start to rebuild those. As part of that effort, identified in the area as the Art District within CIDA through the King and Flagler School at UNC Chapel Hill, and have put that money and energy to use to try to identify ways to redevelop that area. Without the DGDC, we wouldn't be here. We would not have taken our time and energy to put all that together. As you can tell, I'm not a great public speaker, but I really like to stay in the background and do things just to be a support. Our economic development to date, we were able to open Wayne STEM in 2023. We're finishing up our 2nd year there, starting our 3rd. We have to date put about $5.5 million into investment with purchasing land, getting the school developed. We have 65 employees at the school, growing to 100 to 120 in the next 4 years. We're getting ready to begin the construction process for the permanent campus, which will be about a $16.5 million investment. We've additionally bought 12 acres on New Hope Road that we're looking to begin workforce housing project there. Without DGDC and the support and them bringing us here, we would not be putting this money into town. I mean, we didn't know Goldsboro 8 years ago, so it's been a very pleasurable experience. Our time with working with the planning department has been incredible, but we hope to continue to support and really look to DGDC to guide us in our process and continuing our growth here in Goldsboro. Thanks.
Our next speaker is Warner Lambeth.
Am I ready? Okay. Hey y'all, my name is Warner Lambeth. I think the last time I was here I was in high school and I got to follow around a city council person and that was really fun. But I'm glad to be back as someone who's recently come back to Goldsboro about 3 years ago. I'm a product of Eastern Wayne High School, went to UNC, spent some time there, have come back and have been wanting to bring value to the city that gave me so much and have been pitching an idea to family and friends. And I'm really excited to talk about the potential of bringing a children's museum to Wayne County. And after pitching a couple ideas to my family and friends, they recommended reaching out to the Downtown Development Department. And they have been very influential in helping me find key people to help with our steering committee. The goal we are working towards is in its very early stages, and we would love your support. We would love for you to reach out if you're interested in ways to get involved. And it's really shown me and the committee the value of the public-private partnership. Our goal is to find a space that is accessible to children 0 through 12 and hopefully employ 4 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees and countless volunteers to bring an estimated conservative projection of around 72 to 80,000 visitors over 3 years. And our goal is to also be the thing that people can talk about when we're drawing professionals to Wayne County, because one of the draws is it's a great place to live, but what are my kids gonna do? And what are we gonna do here? And the Children's Museum would be a great way to do that. And that's it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Chuck Price. Our next speaker, I'm not sure what this says. I think it says Doug, but I'm not sure. Last name starts with an F. Our next speaker is Richard Taylor.
My name is Richard Taylor. In the Bible, the great King David had a son that was deathly ill. And for some time, he prayed and fasted that his son would get well. But his prayers were never answered. David got up, talked to his servants. They asked him, okay, why are you not downtrodden? Your son has just died. David said, well, when my son was sick, I had hope. I had hope that he would live. But now that he's died, God didn't hear my prayer, I gotta move on. And so I feel like David today, because for 2 months, I and many other people came to the council concerning the police brutality incident that took this city by storm, had us all outraged. Now that the decision has been made, it's been justified, up to standards, legal procedure. I'm wondering, can you talk now? Because all during those 2 months, everybody was silent. Have to give credit to Livingston. One time he had the balls to say, yeah, but there's a problem with Goldsboro Police Department. Sat right there in the seat. I remember that. You tiptoed around a little bit, but you spoke about it. Some of you spoke about it once, but then you remained silent. And so I want you to know that your silence is still loud in my ears. I don't know how you feel about the decision because I've heard nothing. So hopefully after this meeting, you will speak about it. But you have set a precedent of those actions are tolerated by our leaders. Some would say so-called leaders. And I stand here right here with documentation, evidence. The 34-year-old Kiara Williams, who is currently incapacitated, UNC Chapel Hill, beaten reportedly in the Wayne County Jail, March the 9th, and is still in UNC Chapel Hill today by Wayne County deputies. Of course, you probably don't know about that, right? Because people came to me and Miss Sylvia Barnes about the situation. We've been working with the family, trying to figure out what happened. And it's a shame that people will come to me, a regular citizen, instead of the leaders of our community to address issues like this. And so, I thought about it long and hard. Do I want to come in here and waste my time tonight? Because speaking did nothing then. I don't care if it does nothing now, but I want you to know that we know about Kiara Williams, and I hope you guys take the time out to find out about it.
That was our last speaker.
All right, council. We will move forward with our consent agenda minus item 7.1, which has been relocated to 9.6, just as a quick reminder. So we'll move forward with items 7.2, 3, and 4. Mr. Livingston, if you would please present the consent agenda and field any remaining questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. With the 3 that are on there remaining for on the consent are the Dillard Goldsboro Alumni Homecoming Parade. That's a temporary street closing request. A selection of a NCLMA voting delegate, which has traditionally been city manager for several years, and the approval of the March 3rd, 2025 and March 17th City Council meeting minutes. I'll answer any questions. If we vote on this one item, we can do the entire consent agenda.
Council, any comments or questions on items 7, 2, 3, and 4? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 7, 2, 3, and 4 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded to approve consent agenda items 7, 2, 3, and 4. Is there any debate? Hearing none, we'll call, we won't actually. Madam Clerk, if you'd please conduct a roll call.
Mayor Gaylor?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Boyette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilwoman Matthews? Councilwoman Weeks?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
All right. We have no old business to come before council this evening. We'll move to section 9. We will begin with item 9.1. And Mr. Livingston, if you'd please start us off with item 9.1, and then we'll call for anyone else to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, as everyone is aware of, the Dillard Alumni Weekend. It's actually several days long event that we have here in Goldsboro. We just talked briefly about the parade downtown. There's also numerous other foundations and activities that they hold and participate in during that time period. They've asked a request of us for funding this year, which is there listed. It's a bit of an increase from previous years, and they've also asked for a waiver request.
So, how would you like to proceed? I know there's some comments from our finance director to kind of be able to talk through some of the years past. Obviously, do we have representatives? Yes, sir. Or would you like to begin? However you want to do it. We'll come on up.
We also have a presentation.
There you go. Then let's begin with that.
Okay. Yeah. They should be putting it up and giving you just a second.
And welcome. Good to see you tonight.
Kobe's here.
Give us just a second. Apologize for the awkward. I know it's uncomfortable sitting there and everyone's staring at your back. But
it's all good.
The machine has jet lag.
Computers, right?
Yep. Love them when they work. We need them either way. But
absolutely.
Say on what? Council, we have been going now for an hour and a half, and told everybody that we'll do a brief recess at 90 minutes for nature breaks. How about this? Let's let you sit back down. This is the perfect point. Let's stand in recess for stand in recess for 5 minutes. We will reconvene at, call it 7:05.
Oh, okay.
Oh, how you doing, man?
How about you today?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
It's part of the agenda packet, but I've got to put it on the presentation. So he's pulling it up on the agenda I got a question for you. What Richard Taylor is
Council, we are back in order, and we will get right back into work. Item 9.1, Dillard Goldsboro Alumni and Friends presentation and waiver request. Sir, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, distinguished councilmen and women. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Jamarius Coley. I'm the national president of Dillard Goldsboro Alumni and Friends Incorporated. I am a native of Goldsboro, a 1997 graduate of Goldsboro High School. I currently split my time between King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and here in my hometown of Goldsboro, North Carolina. Goldsboro, very near and dear to my heart, and it will always be home to me, and looking forward to returning to Goldsboro soon. So just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our organization. Alumni Weekend Homecoming is in a couple of weeks. Most of you are aware of what homecoming is all about. Just want to give you a little bit of background about what we do outside of just those 4 days. So our mission, the principal foundation of our organization, is to provide scholarships to high school seniors, not only at Goldsboro High School, but legacy students in the other Wayne County schools and all around the country. In addition, this organization is community focused. This organization is community focused. When I was inaugurated, in my speech, I stated the community needs Dillard Goldsboro High School and Friends, Dillard Goldsboro Alumni and Friends. The community needs us, and we are an integral part of the Goldsboro Wayne County community. We strive to provide assistance to other nonprofit organizations through no-cost use of our facilities, and also bringing resources to underserved youth in our neighboring communities and various areas around Goldsboro and Wayne County. This year, we are celebrating 70 years of homecomings. Our theme of this year is 70 years strong, forever enduring, celebrating a platinum legacy of excellence. We've already partnered with many organizations around Goldsboro, including Habitat for Humanity, Seymour Funeral Home, the Downtown Goldsboro Development Group, Grady's Barbecue, Sam's Club, and more to come. Some of the highlights of our weekend activities are our scholarship night, which actually is moving to Dillard Middle School, which is the original location of Dillard High School. Well, the second location. The original location was on West Elm. It moved to Dillard Middle School on Devereaux Street. And so in commemoration of our 70th anniversary, we are having our scholarship awards night at Dillard Middle School. On Friday, there's an alumni golf tournament. On Saturday, on Friday night, we'll be celebrating our National Alumni Banquet. This is special this year because we're going to be honoring 70 years of excellence within our organization, honoring our lifetime members, one of which is Ernest Lofton, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. And then we also will be honoring our trailblazers in the organization. An example of one of our trailblazers is Mrs. Delma Smith, which I'm sure many of you are aware of her as well. On Saturday, we have our big homecoming parade right down Center Street. And then we've also partnered this year with the Arts Council of Wayne County and Encouraging Purpose to offer a kid-friendly space for arts and crafts. They're going to have a bug display right out there outside of the Arts Council right immediately following the parade. We then return over to our campus on Poplar Street for our alumni cookout. And then we will end the weekend with a alumni gospel choir concert, as well as our tailgate opportunities for all of our classes. What is Dillard Goldsboro Alumni and Friends, and what is Homecoming Weekend? It's more than just a weekend of celebration, fun, and parties. This weekend has a cultural impact on our city. It is a time of celebration with a rich legacy dating back to the 1900s. It is an identity. I remember when I first moved to Pennsylvania, guy saw my North Carolina tags. He said, "What part of North Carolina are you from?" I said, "Goldsboro." He said, "Do you guys still do that thing on Memorial Day weekend where everybody comes back to town?" So that just shows you that the reach of this weekend goes far and wide beyond the borders of Goldsboro. Alumni Weekend rivals most HBCU homecomings and is one of the largest and oldest collective high school alumni celebrations in the country. This one weekend is a blueprint and a motivation specifically for younger generations. It gives young people a milestone to aspire to reach, and it continues the traditions carried out by older siblings, mothers, fathers, grandparents, and so forth. Homecoming weekend has a big financial impact on the city of Goldsboro. The graphic on your left is from the Travel and Tourism Department, taken directly from the year 2022. As you can see, there was $757,988 in local spending by visitors in the area, $92,972 in hotel revenue, and generated over $5,578 in local hotel tax. All of the rooms in the city of Goldsboro were booked for that weekend, and we anticipate, with this being a 70th anniversary, that there will be up to $1 million spent in Goldsboro over that 4-day time period. And most importantly, there's an educational impact. This year, we have 50 students who are deemed eligible to receive a Dillard Goldsboro Alumni Scholarship. And this year, we are awarding our first ever Future Leader Scholarship, which actually takes a previous recipient of a scholarship, follows them through their college career, and then offers them a renewable scholarship. This is the first time in the history of our organization that we've gone back to choose a previous recipient, and just to make sure that they have that continued support in their sophomore, junior, and senior years of college. We do have one young lady who will be awarded the Future Leaders Scholarship for this year. In 2024, the total amount of scholarships awarded was $53,000. This year, we have increased our donor support and anticipate to award even more in scholarship monies. The future of Dillard Goldsboro alumni and friends. At the beginning of my presentation, I told you guys that we are more than just a weekend organization. Our facility over on Poplar Street is home to many other nonprofit organizations that, again, use our facility for free. We've recently had the Battle of the Books competition at the facility. Habitat for Humanity has conducted several workshops in conjunction with the McNair Heights Project over on Harris Street, or McNair Heights Way. And then we also have a senior citizen computer lab that we offer free computer courses to our senior population, free of charge, of course. And then over the years, we've given away more than 500 local laptops provided to us directly from Camden Institute out of Durham, North Carolina. We provided those laptops directly to deserving students in the Wayne County and Goldsboro area. This past December, we actually had our first ever community holiday party. We invited all of the families over at Lincoln Homes Community. We invited them over. We had a personalized list for each child. In the weeks prior to the party, we sent out a list for each child to put down 3 toys or gifts that they would like to receive. We went out, we got donations from our membership. We partnered with Safe Space for Youth in conjunction with the United Way. We gave over 75 kids, I'd like to say, a wish list. These were not Barbie dolls and trucks. These were not just balls. We gave away a drone. We gave away about 5 laptop computers. We gave away an iPad. And this was all the community coming together to support those kids. We also had gifts for their parents, household items, different electronic items. And then we also served them all a meal. Yours truly dressed up as Santa Claus. I did not wear my real beard. I actually put on a white beard for that. But it was just a very meaningful event that shows the type of interaction and engagement we have with our local community. So in closing, I would just like to present this board with a proposal for the waiver of our $400 application fee for our parade. But I'm also asking for an advance of our funding for this year. Last year, there is a difference of $1,500 that has not been awarded out to scholarships. So last year, the city of Goldsboro presented us with a recommendation that we pay out our annual allotment in scholarships. We paid that money out. All of those scholarship recipients have turned in their funds. There's $1,500 still outstanding, and we are requesting that money as well as $10,000 for this year. The reason why we want to do it a little bit different, mainly, we do have a donor program. So if the city of Goldsboro would like to present a scholarship to one of our students, we have an ongoing, very healthy donor program where the city of Goldsboro could fill out the donor form, tell us exactly where or the type of student you would like to receive that money, and then that money go directly to the school. We do not feel that it is fair for us to pay out in advance of the city giving us that money. We think that with the financial, cultural, and educational impact that we make on this city over a 4-day time span, as well as the other 361 days of the year, that a $10,000 endowment to our organization for 24-25 is fair and is feasible. We will definitely put the money to good use, not only with the upkeep of our facility. I remember the stories being told about Mayor Hal Plunk, how back 25 years ago, he was very, very instrumental in making sure that we obtained the building on Poplar Street and that it was renovated to be used not only for our Alumni Association, but also the larger community as well. So again, the request from Dillard Goldsboro Alumni and Friends is a waiver of the $400 parade fee in advance of the $1,500 left over from last year's allotment, as well as an additional $10,000 for 24-25 to continue on with building improvements and renovations, and then also support the other programs that we do during homecoming as well as the other 11 months of the year. And thank you so much for your time.
Before we step down, fantastic presentation, as always. So the waiver piece that we have in writing, right?
Okay.
On that last page, I can pull up the presentation, but I don't have a actual proposal. It's not in there either. Do we have?
I have one. I have one that he emailed me.
Okay, perfect. And that's for the waiver request, right?
I think it's actually for the funding request.
It's for the funding for next year.
Mm-hmm.
For next year.
For next year.
For the budget appropriations committee.
Okay.
All right. And Ms. Gwen, I know y'all had a conversation earlier today. Do you mind coming up and kind of talking us through what we could do with this past year's funding? Again, you guys having to front it and then be reimbursed.
Sure.
There is a process. I understand y'all had a robust conversation earlier
we did this morning. Yes,
about
sir.
what would have to transpire
Yes,
for us
sir.
to be able to go ahead and front the money. If that's something that y'all are interested in getting on board with, I think we could probably get on board with it as well. Ms. Gwen, do you mind coming up and talking us through how this could work? And now again, I'm thinking about it within the context of scholarships. Now the other part we may have to have a conversation about, but I'm absolutely on board with continuing scholarships. That I don't even have to hiccup at that. But let's talk about that piece first, and then figure out what our next stop is.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the conversation that Mr. Coley and I had today, we talked through the process, the options. We talked about it having to be a constitutionally allowed expenditure. And so I told him the options were we could do it on a reimbursement basis. So you provide a copy of the canceled check and a copy of the invoice, you're done. You present it, we pay it, you're done. We could do it on option 2, which is on an advance basis. So we advance the money generally at intervals, generally quarterly at the beginning of the quarter, or semi-annually, twice a year, so like July and January. And there is a list of things. We have a standard MPO contract that Ron and I put together, and it spells out everything. And Mr. Coley and I went through that. We talk about the insurance. We talk about financial statements, audits, and an internal compliance audit that our staff can do if need be. And, you know, gave Mr. Coley a copy of that sample contract. And we went through the provisions that if we were to find expenditures that were not eligible or constitutionally allowed, that we could request that that money be returned. Well, we would have to, you know. So it's really to protect the city and for our audit process. So we had a good conversation. So, and I think we cleared up all questions, correct? Okay. So I looked at the appropriation. So the actual appropriation for this year was $10,250. And I understand where Mr. Coley is coming from, that basically the money that we reimbursed them were for scholarships that were awarded in May of last year, okay? But like I said, I cannot pay out a bill with no support. I mean, that is just completely unacceptable, right? So if we go this process, and I asked Mr. Coley, which process would you prefer? He said, I would prefer the advanced basis, which were good. All right, so understanding that they do not have an audit. Okay, so they do not have a third-party CPA that does an external audit. So we will have to do an internal audit and compliance. He was good with that. We feel like we could do it virtually, probably, or do a Teams meeting or something like that with their accountant in Atlanta. So when I looked at the appropriation, they had $10,250 for this year. We have reimbursed them $6,500 today. He told me they just got one of their canceled checks back for $2,000, so it gets them to $8,500. So it leads to the $1,500, but there's extra $250. So it's actually $1,750. So if the council is okay with increasing the appropriation for this year, another $10,250 to take care of the scholarships for this fiscal year that won't get paid out until probably October, November, December of the next fiscal year, then we can do the contract. I would do the contract for the $10,250 that you appropriate, and I have to do a budget amendment for that because it's not funded. And then I would add the $1,750 to that, so it's a total of like $12,000 that we can sign the agreement. I can go ahead and get the paperwork from Mr. Coley that we get from every other nonprofit that we use this process for. We get the paperwork, and then I can advance him the money. And then I told him it probably would be like a May, June, July process of next year. I would create an internal audit program. I would have one of two of my professional staff go and do the audit on them, probably take a couple of hours, and we would just ensure that the money got spent appropriately since there is no external audit. And then I told him if the council, whatever amount they deemed, we have at this point in time in the departmental request $10,250 for fiscal 26, but if the council increased it to $20,000, then that's fine. I told Mr. Coley I would work with him probably in June after the council approved the budget. June, July, we would get a contract together. We would go through that process. He would provide me an invoice. We would advance the first payment, whether it's quarterly or semi-annually. So, any questions? I mean, I kind of went through that a little fast.
So, Council, I know there are a lot of questions. As always, I don't like asking council to vote on something they don't have physically in front of them to be able to vote on. But I do think we need to offer some guidance to Ms. Gwen and to our clerk as they're preparing a memo, probably for a vote at next meeting, to be able to have something actually in front of us, an actual resolution to be able to vote on. But we need to be able to give some sort of direction. What's the will of council, and are there additional questions? Yes,
I
sir.
have a-
Go ahead.
No, you go
All right,
ahead, I'm
yes,
sorry.
sir. And then
Just
Ms.
a couple of questions to make sure that I understand as I'm taking this in, since we didn't have anything in front of us. So what we're discussing is going to be a part of our 25-26 fiscal budget.
Two questions. One is, do you want to appropriate another $10,250 right now for me to do at the next meeting for a budget amendment? And then, are you okay with the appropriation of the $10,250, or are you amenable to the $20,000 appropriation? But the council's got, and I told Mr. Coley that you all have to decide what is, as long as it's constitutional, you have to decide what you're going to spend it on. Does the whole $20 have to go towards scholarships? Or is it allowable to go towards like the celebration if the public is invited? Because that's the caveat to that. We can't do it for private parties, but we can do something for the public if that's the council's will. But that is entirely up to you as the board.
Okay, so the second question was, so to make sure that I'm clear, so and I was confused to start with, so the 10K that we're speaking of is an additional ask over and above what the previous was. We're not talking about the same 10 from before.
No, we're talking about adding an additional $10,250 to their current request to fund scholarships for this fiscal year, paid next year.
Gotcha.
And then he's also asking you for $20,000 in fiscal 26 because part of it's for scholarships and part of it is to help with their homecoming celebration. Okay.
That's all my questions. And from procedurally, would this be something that, since we're speaking of a future budget cycle that's being worked on, would this be something that we would need to defer initially to the budget committee to come back? Or I'm just trying to...
I think for next year, my advice, and obviously council can take it for what it's worth, my advice is that we resolve, give Ms. Gwen some direction on what we want to do with current FY now, and then come up with what the ask is for next FY and let that be resolved as part of the larger budget, just like we're trying to ask everyone else to go ahead and get their budget requests in, and then we can have the conversation about what else could be funded. But I think that the direction that we probably need to go is, y'all are coming up on May, so you're coming up on scholarship issuing season, so you guys deserve to know what you want to have available. So my advice would be, and then I'm going to yield to Councilwoman Weeks and then to Pro Tem, but my advice would be, let's give Ms. Glenn some direction on what we want to do in the current FY conversation.
That would be helpful.
Ms. Weeks, the floor is yours if you still have any comments or
I
questions.
have a couple procedural questions. The NPO contract that you and Mr. Lawrence drafted, what year did you draft that?
It was in 2022.
22. Could you send a copy of that to all the council so that we could have
Mm-hmm.
that? And also, the other nonprofits that we partner with, do they have to adhere to the same requirement that we're asking him to, where they have to spend the money and then submit the reimbursement model? Yes. Are they having to go Communities in School, MLK? Any of the nonprofits that we partner with, are they all under this same reimbursement model?
No, so the Dillard is the only one. So as I explained to Mr. Coley, do an option one where you reimburse. There are pros and cons to it, right? The con is I got to spend my money first, then ask for my money to come back. The pro of it is once you give us the copy of the check and a supporting invoice, you're done, okay? If you do the second option where we advance you the money, it is an ongoing compliance requirement. So it requires quarterly and annual financial reports, audits, 990s, and it also, they have to track it by the program. So we have to be able to see that basically we see City of Goldsboro grant revenue, $10,000, and then we see an itemized list of expenses because that's what we're going to audit by. So he understood that. They keep books and records to the tune that we could be able to get that information. So the others that we have dealt with, we haven't done a lot of nonprofits. It's really Communities and Schools is the only one really that we've done this year so far. We've actually spent money. Yes, they provide us all the financial statements. So they do it quarterly. And they provide us program information quarterly. They provide us the 990s, the audits, the W-9s. They also have to list us as an additional insured on their certificate of insurance. I've already talked to Mr. Coley about that. He said that was not a problem because, as I told him, the city cannot donate money. We cannot donate money. We can contract for a constitutionally allowed service. And so the city has to be protected on that certificate of insurance. But I mean, as we talked through it, he was tick, 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 everything was good. He understood. So, I mean, I think we had a good meeting of the minds today. And so he was fine with going through that process with us. And I mean, I'm more than happy to do that because, like I said, the process works. I haven't had any problems with other entities, as far as getting us paperwork, so.
But that same contract is required for every single nonprofit that we would partner with.
So when we did the United Way process last year, so the United Way, what they got paid to do was to run the process. And then they selected the charities, okay? Then they took our standard contract, they had the list of everything, so nothing's changed. So when I came to work here, there was no process in place. We just cut checks, okay? We didn't verify anything, we didn't get audits, we didn't make sure that the money got spent properly. I changed that. We put that process in place, and then we formalized it with a contract. So when we did United Way last year, they had the standard contract. The entity signed it. They provided us all that financial information. And once we had everything and we could check off our checklist that we have, then we would cut them the check. So.
First of all, I want to thank you for everything that Dillard does. I am called alumni, but I do advocate for Dillard. The second thing I want to ask you is the $10,250. Because I am in agreement with advancing anything that you need. Because Dillard gives so much back to Goldsboro. So the $10,250, is that sufficient for this year's scholarship?
For scholarships only? So I want to differentiate between scholarships.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it, in my brain.
So again, our scholarship program is very well funded.
Okay.
We have donors from all over the country, as well as our chapters that contribute to our scholarship program. My ask from the city of Goldsboro would be that stipulation be removed, that it had to be all going to scholarships, because we do have there's not one child that does not get adequately funded for college based on our donor program.
I want to get that clear and out of the way to make sure that we understood, and I got it. Okay, thank you.
I have another.
Yes, sir. So with what you just said, sir, I would like to see if we could fund outside of scholarships, because you have certain programs that go to what this council has said that we were trying to get after, which is the Alumni community and violence. You have programs that directly contribute to curbing that behavior in our neighborhoods. So I think that does line up with the agenda that we set for this council.
Would it be possible, and then I'll yield the floor back, between now, anything that would be given now would have to have documentation and results by the end of FY?
No, we would be advancing and we would be auditing.
Let me clarify.
Okay.
If we were to do an NPO style funding for programmatic support,
right.
If we were to back away from the scholarship piece, if we were just to purely look at it as NPO support, we'd have to have documentation of things being done current FY. So between now and June 30, right?
Not necessarily. If we advance the money, if Mr. Coley can present to you what his program is and his program of spending, then what we can do is take that program. So let's say that he can't spend the money until July 31st. As long as he sets his books up so that we can track that program, because the software they use is capable of breaking it down by the job or the class. So they could track the money and carry it forward for the city of Goldsboro and show us, okay, you gave us $12,000 on May the 1st, and here are the list of expenditures. This is what we spent, let's say July 31st or something, whatever that time frame is. I guess, we don't want the money in perpetuity, so we don't want the foundation there to hold the money for like years and never spend it, right? That doesn't make sense because you're not helping the public. But I think as long as it's spent within a period of time, we can track that because his book should be able to track those expenditures. So I don't really have a issue if he can't spend it by June 30th because of doing the advance method.
So then, again, I don't want to, obviously council can, make motions in seconds and I will procedurally, honor that. I don't really want to ask council for a motion until we have something physically in front of us that we can read and say, here's what it's going to be. But I'm asking council, would we be interested in exploring NPO funding, given that that is still a budgeted line item that has not yet been allocated? But that's a current one. I'm sorry.
But if a motion was to be made tonight in support of what the ask is, what would that sound like? Because I'm going to make it.
I don't think we know.
Because what I'm saying is, I don't want us to differentiate so much between this organization and other organizations, because we had a tremendous ask to come before us not too long ago, and I didn't see anything in contract or in writing, but we approved it. So I don't want us to continue to delay this. So what I'm saying is, I want to support the organization. I don't have to see it in writing. I'm going to trust our finance director to do what she does and to ensure that all contracts and policies and procedures are in place. And I want to go ahead and make a decision to support what the ask is tonight.
So what does the motion sound like?
The motion sounds like I make a motion that we support the ask
with no stipulations.
Request.
With no stipulations. How about this? Let me, if I may, Mayor, can we have him to restate what his ask is so that I can try to formulate it into a motion?
So the ask for this year, for this fiscal year is, what is it, 12,000?
It's
10,000.
10,250.
So the 10,250 be advanced to us in support of our ongoing community programs, as well as the $1,500 from last year be flexed into this year, is also advanced for this year as well in support of the programs that we continuously do.
And the application fee.
And the application fee be waived in the amount of $400.
I would like to make a motion that we support the advancement of 10,250 as well as 1,500 to the Dillard Alumni Association, as well as waiving the $400 application fee.
And I would say that that's a budget amendment. You're authorizing finance to come back with a budget.
And authorizing finance to do a budget amendment.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded. Out of funding, again, we have NPO funds already set aside that would not have to come out of general fund. Is it the will of council that we go ahead and use those so we're not pulling out of general fund? Again, they're already sitting there.
Let me ask the question,
Yes,
though.
sir.
But there's already a line item for him. Is that right?
There is a line item that has 10,250 in it. So if I'm understanding the mayor correctly, is that the 20,000 that we have left over unallocated that you're
No,
talking about?
because out of the current budget, there was 10,250 allocated, but we've been billing against that on reimbursements. So there's not 10,250 still sitting there open in the current FY. That was my point. Was if we're effectively adding funds in current FY.
Hold on just a second, just so I can understand. So I thought in this current year that we set aside a line item for 10,250, right?
is correct.
So we was billing against the money that we had already given him, though, right? So this line item still has 10,250 in it.
No, well, no, because we've expended 6,500, getting ready to spend another 2. That's where the 1,750 difference comes from. So the 1,750, I don't have to reappropriate again, but to add to Mr. Coley's request for an additional 10,250, I got to pull that out of fund balance if we don't take it out of the unallocated line item.
But Mr. Mayor, so your request is to take it out of the MPO fund of the 50 that we set aside, subtracting the 30.
The remaining.
The remaining,
That would
there's
cover
20 left in that line.
That would cover it, so.
Then we don't have to take it out of the general
Bingo.
fund balance.
Right.
Gotcha.
And we're able to put it towards a thing that it was originally set out here for,
It-
if that's the will of council.
Am I getting okays? Okay.
Whatever works.
Okay, so with that,
As long as you get it, I don't-
you've got head nods. The next week you would actually bring the formal resolution, and then it would properly be voted on. Right now, the motion is made and properly seconded to instruct you to create the budget resolution. Is it clear? Do we need to read back the motion so that everyone knows exactly what they're voting on?
No.
You don't mind?
Sure, it's 10,250, an additional 1,500, and waive the $400, and then authorize the finance director to come back with a budget ordinance amendment.
All right.
And
Good.
do y'all need to add
The $400.
it coming out of, do you need to add that?
I don't think they need to because we know we've said it, so.
Okay, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
So then we're good. We're not having to pull out of fund balance. We're allocating lines. So council motions have made and properly seconded. Is there any further debate on this? And then this is current FY stuff, which good. All right, hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. All right, so we'll get that one voted on next week. You guys so much. Thank you.
Mr. Coley, it's good to see you.
All right, now let's move over to item 9.2, veteran stand-down request. Mr. Livingston, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry. We have Felicia, our Parks and Recreation Director, here to give that presentation, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Good evening, Council. How are y'all doing this evening? Good. Well, you heard earlier from a couple of people with the veteran stand down, and so I'm just here before you this evening pretty much to answer any questions you may have, to give you a quick background from our standpoint with the veteran stand down. They have used city facilities in the past. I went looking back through my records, and I want to say it was 2014 or 2015 was one of the first years they used Herman Park Center. And when they did that, the request came before council because they were asking for a fee waiver. And when they came back, the next year and the year after that, it was again presented to council for a fee waiver. That event grew over the years. They typically held it in October. One of the last years they held it at Herman Park Center was because we didn't have any more room because they were growing. And so after, like I said, one of the last years they held it at Herman Park Center, they've held it at the Goldsboro Event Center, another city facility. When we closed Herman Park Center, I believe it was in 2022, we were looking for them to have it at T.C. Coley Community Center, but that facility, again, wasn't big enough for them, which is when they went to the National Guard Armory. And like I said, so we have not, the city of Goldsboro, we have not hosted them for at least a couple of years now. But they came back to us and approached us about wanting to use W.A. Foster Center. One of the differences, like for this upcoming event, is they're looking to do it next month in May. Like I said previously, when it was held at city facilities, it was done in October. And so pretty much, like I said, I'm just here, to answer any questions you all may have as far as the event.
President, so you're here?
Yes, I don't have any questions. This too is a wonderful event, and it aligns with our community engagement. And I would like to just move forward to making a motion that we waive the fee and allow this great organization to help our unhoused veterans.
All right, is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
All right, is there a
And-
second?
Yes.
I'll second it.
All right, motion is made and properly seconded to approve the fee waiver request as presented, item 9.2 on the agenda. Motion is made, probably say, is there any discussion?
I do just, yes, sir. Could you just tell me the time?
Yes.
What time will it start?
Well, they're gonna be in the facility from 8 to 3, but
Okay,
the
I just
actual
didn't know
event.
if it's in the morning.
Okay.
That's all.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm. And it's during the weekday. It's May 15th.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you. All right, let's talk about 9.3. Mr. Livingston.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We have a request here for Mr., I believe his last name Perez. He's one of our code enforcement officers, doing a fantastic job. In fact, the whole code enforcement department's really doing a great job and in getting a lot of things cleaned up in our city. This request is so that he can continue working as a permanent part-time employee for the city, so we don't lose any of the momentum that we've established. Keep that going. So that's what the request is.
So, are there any questions from council? So, will this position, which I'm fully in support of making the shift, I'm not speaking against, I'm just curious. So, this position, will it be standard code enforcement? Will it be attached to housing? How does it work?
It's his regular job that he's doing now,
Okay.
all different levels of code enforcement.
And the part-time position that did exist, what did that do?
So that was the part-time position that they had. They didn't have one.
Okay.
So that's why if they had a permanent part-time, wouldn't have to ask for one.
Gotcha.
They don't have a regular. I can create part-time positions. I just can't create a permanent part-time. And by the way, I don't make a habit out of creating part-time positions anyway. But asking this request because again, he's a great employee, and we don't want to lose him. And we're lucky to have him part-time, actually, and just continue the capacity that we have in code enforcement.
All right. Councilor, any comments or questions on 9.3? All right, then we'll call, is there a motion to approve the reclassification as presented in item 9.3?
So moved.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded to approve the reclassification as described in item 9.3 in our agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. All right. And Mr. Livingston, if you would actually, Chief Stimpian, sorry, Mr. Livingston, 9.4, please.
Well, I think we ought to let the chief talk about it. His department did a great job of writing the grant. He's been busy tracking down trees in his
There you
department
go.
today.
It's been a busy night outside, hasn't it?
It has been.
Yeah.
It's quiet right now. They're going to kill me because I just made it worse on them.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. I have agenda 9.4, and that is the Fire Department award of the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant. So we applied for a grant through the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant, and I'm happy to announce we were awarded $22,286.82 to purchase 18 Seek thermal imaging cameras and the accessories that go with them. These are a smaller version of what we have, and they are individual, and this will allow every member on the apparatus to have this technology. This is going to increase our situational awareness when we're on scenes. It's a critical tool that we use during search and rescue operations, and what it does is it gives them a clear image of what's in the room, helps them to find the base of the fire quicker, which means we put it out quicker. And then on top of that, it gives them temperature readings in the compartment they're in so they can keep an eye on how high it is. All right, and that's important because we have something called flashover that can happen when temperatures reach a certain degree. Well, if everybody in there has that thermal imaging camera, they can all see it at the same time and know when to get out. So this will increase our efficiency in search and rescue and increase the safety of our firefighters. So it is recommended that City Council approve the acceptance of the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant in the amount of $22,286.82 to purchase 18 Seek thermal imaging cameras and accessories, and authorize city manager and/or fire chief to complete any necessary agreements or documents related to the grant.
Chief, is there a financial match to this one?
There is not.
This one, Council, I'm sure you already noticed, 9.4 was a late addition to the agenda. The reason it was a late addition is because there's a deadline on us accepting this one. And with there being no financial outlay on our part, I didn't think the council was going to strongly object to getting it in front of us so we could accept it. So with that, Council, is there any other comments or questions on 9.4?
I have
yes, sir, Mr. Lewis.
Probably looking into the future with our grant policy, ones that don't require any kind of match, it's really kind of redundant for us to be asking for approval from the council for a grant that they're going to be giving us money for, unless it's something really, we're doing something really outside the norm, which we don't do here. So maybe it's something we need to look at revising.
Hey, if you don't want to talk about it in council meeting, that's fine. I'll put it in my comments.
Okay.
So council, 9.4, if hearing no other conversation, is there a motion to adopt the resolution and approve the acceptance of the grant as presented?
So moved.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded to approve adopt the resolution and approve the acceptance of the grant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And item 9.5, this is not for a vote. This is for information only. Mr. Livingston, if you please give us a brief.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. As you know, we're working on an interlocal agreement with Eureka so that we can provide them sewer, simply because the expiration date with Fremont's sewer agreement with Eureka is soon, will be expiring soon. And where we're at right now is trying to negotiate the terms of that agreement, and without really getting into a lot of details, we're getting closer. But the goal is to have a separate agreement with Eureka so we can provide them sewer service similar to what we have with Fremont. The sticking point now has been some conveyance charges, and also making the bill such that Eureka can actually afford it. Eureka's in the position right now because they were having to pay sewer bills that they just weren't feasible over time for, and they have, just for the information of the public, they have close to, on rainy days, close to 60,000 gallons a day with 110 connections on their system. So 3/4 of the water or sewer that gets into their lines is actually from the ground inflow and infiltration. So that's what that grant is going to do, which Eureka got of $15 million to improve those lines. So we need to try to help them so that we can get them through that process and that they can get a viable system going there.
And to your credit, I've said this publicly before, but you've done a really good job trying to be a mediator on this. In theory, we could walk away and say, y'all figure it out and let us know, when to pump and what to receive. But I do appreciate you trying to be an active mediator in this. And I think it's going to yield positive results. And I know that they appreciate the support. All right, let's move to item 9.6, relocated from our consent agenda. This previously was 7.1, now it's 9.6. Mr. Livingston, if you'd...
So this is a recommended street closure that came to us, and we're recommending that we get an alternate location for the event, for the street closure. It's a road race. And we've talked about having alternate road race locations, certified alternate road race locations, so that in the event there might be some times when we have multiple road races and we need multiple spaces, or we might want to have road race locations. We might want to have some in other areas. The gist of this is we don't really want to impact downtown in such a way, repeatedly having so many street closures, i.e. that's why we had the policy, which by the way, the policy has been pretty effective in my mind. but this would be 2 road closures back-to-back on Main Street within 10 days. We feel like what we need to do is have an alternate location and get that done that way. And that's what we're saying, conditional approval on street closure on like John Street or another location that they can certify, and we'll make that happen, because that's one thing that we said we were going to do, is have multiple certified race locations within the city.
So council, there are, as I look through the policy, there are a couple of paths forward. If we simply reject, then they can resubmit, and as long as it doesn't touch one of the specified streets in our policy, then Mr. Livingston can approve on his own. Alternatively, we can approve it conditioned upon a slightly different location, but acknowledging that if they can't make that happen, that they can use this location. What's the path forward that we want to do? I think the request being 2 weekends in a row. That's a bit much.
We also have Captain Adams here that can kind of speak to it, the event, and some of the. I forgot to recognize him.
Sure. Captain Adams, welcome.
Thank you, sir. How are you? Any questions? Anything I can provide?
If it stays as it currently is, can you walk us through? And I realize it's in the agenda packet, and it's almost 8 o'clock, so we're not going to belabor this, because I think we have a path forward. But on this one, walk us through what the current request is, what the layout would be, the timing, which I see 8:30. Walk us through the timing, and then what impact would happen to parking and streets.
Okay. So the current road closure would be the northbound and southbound lanes of Center Street, starting from Ash going all the way down to Elm, and everything else outside of that would be open. So any of the parking areas, that is open. It's just the entrance into the Center Street area. So John Street parking's open. Any of the side streets that you have, Chestnut, Walnut, Mulberry, all those are available on the side streets, just not entering into the Center Street area.
So this one, even the 10K is limited to Center Street, or they just run
Correct.
laps?
So what they'll do on that is it goes from a closed course on Center Street, and then it will go into an open course when they make their turn onto Walnut. They'll go from Walnut down to Jefferson. They'll come from Jefferson up to Mulberry, Mulberry back to Center Street. Then they'll come back into the closed area and then finish the race on Center Street. And they'll do 2 laps to make the 10K. It's 1 lap for a 5K, and then the 1 mile fun run, which is just on the Center Street area.
So, Council, you've heard the brief. The parking would remain open even as this, although it is certainly an impact to our Center Street businesses. There's no doubt about that. What's the will of council? We need a motion to either move forward or change or something.
So I have some questions.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, ma'am. And then we'll come back to you.
So first, definitely we are closing the streets for the previous Saturday. This one, it says the setup time will start at 6:30 in the morning, and they will not dismantle till lunchtime. Is that?
So the road closure, the actual closure part, is from about 7 o'clock till 11. That's the road closure time. The race, the dismantling would be the cleanup of, the stuff that they're having there for their metals, the tents, anything that they're going to have there that would not be in the roadway affecting the closure. So the road would open back up. Last year, the road opened approximately around 10:45 a.m. We finished a little early, and we were able to actually get it open up quicker.
I just want to, re-emphasize that our policy said that we would not have two Saturdays back to back, and we're looking at Memorial Day weekend, which is a busy time for our downtown merchants for end of the year sales, that kind of thing. I would like to see is the vendor you're using Run the East?
It is Run the East, so it's their certified route and everything. And I know May 31st, it seems like it may be Memorial Weekend, but that is actually not Memorial Weekend. Memorial Weekend is the weekend before. So that would be just so that that's.
Because Memorial Day is that Monday.
The
previous before the race.
The one previous, so that weekend would be the
Are
one prior.
are you working with Jamie or Kip, or who are you working with that run the East?
So Phil Hardy was actually here from Crime Stoppers. He's the one that would be the coordinator for that. He's one of the board members. I'm just the Crime Stoppers coordinator. So he's been coordinating that. So I understand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening, sir.
What did you? I didn't hear your question this week.
So I was wondering, with Run the East, are you working with Jamie or are you working
Jamie.
with Kip? You're working with Jamie?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a recommendation to the council that we work with Run the East, because we definitely need other alternative marked race courses, because it is popular to race downtown, and I want us to have that availability. But when we close our streets back to back several Saturdays, it does have a huge impact on restaurants that are serving breakfast, lunch, those kind of things. So could we possibly get Jamie or Kip to redraw it so that we start maybe down by the hub past where the businesses are, and then take a route that way and approve it based on those conditions being put in place?
I would like to take a look at that, simply because we have to do what we say we're going to do. And when I saw this on the schedule, I did go back and I did look at the minutes, and it did say that we would not have anything back to back. And I did look at, we did have May 24th, and then we had May 31st. So, I'm in agreement that, we take a look at, what we can do to help these businesses, because while we want to support the run, we also want to support our businesses downtown. And it is Memorial Day weekend. There's going to be a whole lot of things going on. So I would like for us to do that.
Sir, you had your hand up as well?
I seem to remember last year when we were dealing with this particular event, Mayor, didn't you come up with a suggestion or something that fixed the problem in a different...
Yeah, the goal at that point, and it's been a lot of things. I'm not throwing darts at anybody, but yes, what we did ask was that manager, Parks and Rec, DGC, whomever, go ahead and try to identify 3 or 4 different routes around the city so that we can kind of spread this around a little bit. And I think everyone is generally in agreement with doing that. Why it hasn't happened, I'm not trying to throw any darts, but I do think that it would benefit us to have additional routes, even those that do still impact downtown, right in the heart of the city, but going in a slightly different direction. And if your organization is amenable to it, we would absorb the cost for that, because we want them to be our stock routes to be able to say. So we're not asking you to fit the bill for that, because it's something that we already said that we wanted city staff to do. But if you'd be amenable to that, I think we'd like to go ahead and approve this conditioned upon being able to get a route redesigned a little bit.
Well, if I may address the council, 2 things. One is that we understand about back to back, and we understand what's going on and everything. And one of the things that we had talked about, and I understand where you guys are coming from, but also as far as we don't have to have both sides of Center Street blocked off. We actually go from the hub down Center Street and turn and go down, Walnut Street. That's the only thing that we really need to be blocked. I understand, and I understand with businesses.
Do you finish? If you finish back on Center Street, right?
Yes, sir.
So but they come down the northbound lane on the 5K and 10K comes back down there.
So could it be a soft close that as soon as every runner's clear, we open back up Center Street?
Absolutely. We did that last year. As he said, by 10:45 last year, we were closed and we were down at the hub. That's where we do our metals presentation. That's a great place to do it and everything. But by 10:45, we were done and had opened the streets. Basically, what we did last year is because there was some concern about closing the streets and everything. What Jason did is he went behind, picked up the last runner, and opened everything up. And once that was the case, we just took and moved everything, out of the way.
So with that format, and then I'll yield the floor to other questions, but I just want to drill in on this. With that format, Captain, Roughly what time do you think we could get Center Street back open?
You can open it. You can keep the southbound lane open if you wanted to, and not actually close it at all. It wouldn't affect the race on that side. You can keep it open if you needed to, and therefore you would only amend the request to be to close the northbound lane only for that time period and open immediately when the last runner comes through.
Roughly what time do we think the last runner would go through? Taking a wild guess.
So for what we did is the road closure, we were waiting for them to tear down the run the east area, which is part of Center Street still, which would be the area between Spruce and Chestnut. If we kept that closed until the 11 o'clock to make sure, that was when 10:45 we opened that section up.
But
But the runners were already done. Medals were being completed around 10:30, 10:50.
But everything west of that.
But everything west of.
Everything west of Chestnut on Center Street.
You mean south? Or south, you mean? So south of Chestnut towards Elm?
If you're on Center Street from Chestnut back towards Ash.
That would be open. So
that would be open effective what time?
We could do that probably the minute the last runner comes through, which I said last time, it was about 15 to 30 minutes before we opened up the whole road. So between 10:15 to 10:30 it was when we opened it.
So council, we have, all right, yes sir, go ahead, answer.
So if I understood correctly, so the east side of Center Street,
correct,
200 in that area, the run's going to start there by the hub, go up to Walnut, and go east.
It goes east, correct.
Okay, so you're only talking about impacting basically that side of Center Street for 2 blocks.
Well, it would go up to Mulberry as well because they come back onto Mulberry when they come their loop. So it comes up to Walnut, they take that right going east, they go north on Jefferson to Mulberry, then they come back down Mulberry, and when they hit Center, they come back down on the northbound lane,
okay,
running in south.
So my question then was to minimize impact to Center Street. Why come it couldn't? Is there a reason that it couldn't start and go eastward down Chestnut Street instead of Mulberry or Walnut, and that way nothing's impacted on Center Street beyond the right there in front of the hub? Is that possible?
It would only change the certified route. So it being a certified route by going different roads, then you go and it being a qualified route. Runners that want to get that certification for what they're running, that's what would be changing. That's what I think Councilwoman Weeks was mentioning, is if work with Jamie and them to do a new route, then you're measuring and getting the certification approved at that point, which would be the thing that missed.
I'd like so that we can use it for anybody outside of this race. We could use it for every race.
But in time for this event?
Don't know that.
I don't know that. See, that's my concern, is we're within about 50 days of the run, inside of 60 days of the run. So, I mean, I could get up with Jamie, I could try, but.
Well, if I may,
yeah.
in sticking with what we said we were going to do from a policy standpoint, we said we're not going to do back-to-backs, and that's what this is, if we in fact do that. So then we're stepping outside of what we all worked to come up with. So that's why I was asking about, could we go cut down Chestnut or whatever, so that we don't technically, we're not really impacting Center Street if it's only 1 block right there in front of the hub on 1 block for 1 side of the street, versus what we're talking about now is against our policy if we approve it.
Well, not only Center Street, Councilman, but also our handicap parking that we just put for the customers downtown on Center Street. They would have to then walk across. If you block it off, say from 7 to 11 in the morning, any handicap for the barbershop, for anything, is going to have to walk clear across the street for handicap parking. And we had said last year, because it was specifically around this time that we talked for this race, that's why we put all of these policies into place that I kept. We said we would revisit it before it even got to this time. We also put a number in place, 200 or less, that we were not going to close that part of Center Street. So it's more than one policy that we're going against.
So I guess it would be, what can we do? I mean, what,
The option, I think, is to approve it contingent upon additional route, and then us, trying to leverage Parks and Recreation and trying to be able to get additional stock routes for the city to be able to offer and be able to mix things around.
Well, I mean, my question to you guys is, I know it's back to back, and I didn't realize that. We had to go with the date that where we had our people available and everything. And I understand that. And I understand about affecting business downtown, because let me tell you, I heard the guy speak earlier. Downtown Goldsboro is hot. Everywhere I go all across eastern North Carolina, and I travel all over eastern North Carolina, and when I tell people where I'm from, the first thing they say is how much downtown is. Boy, I wish our downtown was like that. We want to do anything to impact that. I mean, in the meantime, if I know it's probably a problem with a back-to-back, but I mean, we've already spent the money and everything. I mean, we didn't know that. Had we known that, we would not have done that. But we've already invested money in that. If it's possible, what I may be able to do is talk to Jamie. One of the things that I thought about is, as far as impact in Center Street, our start-finish line is right there at the hub. We could always move the start-finish line back. I mean, we still have to close part of Center Street, but there's no businesses affected there. And I will make sure that for future reference, especially if I'm the actual person that's in charge, the director of the road race, that it's not a back-to-back weekend. So.
Mr. Hardy, could you possibly just reach out to Jamie Orr and just tell him, say, look, we got 50 days. I know that he has changed mine that quick before. Could you reach out to him and just say, look, we're working with a time crunch, and we need to get this certified to where even if you block it back, like you're saying, where there's no businesses that are impacted, that wouldn't change that recertification that much.
I have another question.
Well, I mean, just like Mr. Boyette said, if we move it back, instead of going down and turning going Walnut, we could turn and go down Chestnut and then and skinny back.
Matter of getting it recertified.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put the overall event in jeopardy. I want to be able to minimize the impact to Center Street, especially we're able to leave certain pieces of it open. But I really do want us to work on trying to find an alternative route, for this event, because I want it to stay downtown. But there's going to be things that pop up like this, and we want to make sure that we have additional routes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve it based on the contingency that Mr. Hardy reaches out to Mr. Orr and they move it back, even if they recertify, even if they move it back, Mr. Field, one block where those no businesses on Center Street are impacted and recertified. I make a motion we approve it on that basis.
That's fine. I mean, I'll be glad to do that.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded. Mr. Boyd, I see your hand up for any debate.
So this is, I guess, a staff question. So in vetting this application, is there a crack in the fence to where the staff didn't catch the back-to-back to say that date's not going to work, or is that something we need to figure out moving forward to save this from being an issue?
So that is a good question. There's areas that underneath where I can approve things that are able, because this wasn't a legacy event, it wasn't quite on the 5th year, it had to come before council. But all those things that we talked about, I could have denied based on those reasons. So that was put in the policy. It wasn't a crack. It's just that these are newer type events. So I think we have to mirror the newer type events and have to create things like this. We're just improving upon the policy because there might be multiple events we could have conceivably one day in the future. Maybe they want to have 2 road races, and maybe it is okay in this kind of thing to have a big 2 of them at the same time. Maybe you have 2 different routes or on different days or something kind of intersecting each other. So this just gives us more tools in the tool bag to be able to do more events in downtown and with less impact when thinking things through on the businesses.
Okay, yeah, because I just was curious to.
I don't think anything's really broken. I think it's just that we need to recognize the fact that it's not a perfect policy. We can improve upon it, though. No, it goes through several things. We had discussion on this. It goes through the police department, Captain Steins and Captain Abs. They look at it. It depends, and then it comes through the departments, and it comes to me to do the final certification.
And as Crime Stoppers, we really appreciate, because we know that the city of Goldsboro, as well as the county, works with us. This is one of our 3 fundraising projects that we have. It was very successful last year, and everybody commented that they liked running downtown Goldsboro because the route itself, it is a beautiful route. I can't run it. I wish I could. I wish I could say I could, but I can't. But I appreciate the council's opportunity for me to come along with Captain Adams, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to try to work it out. And I appreciate the fact that I did not know about the back-to-back, but I can assure you we will know next year, and we will make sure that we're in of course, this is our 5th year, so we're now legacy after this year. But anyway, I really appreciate your time, and it's something that can be figured out. So, but
well, we have a motion that's been made and properly seconded. Do you mind restating the motion, or?
So I make a motion that we approve it, based on the stipulations that we reach out to Jamie Orr at Run the East and asked him if he could remap that, recertify that race where it moves it back just 1 block so there's no businesses impacted on Center Street.
All right. So motion's been made, properly seconded. It's been restated for the record.
Who's the second?
Second
I
was,
seconded
yep,
it.
Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so motion's been made, properly seconded. Debate has occurred. Is there any further debate? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes. We'll get this thing worked out and get a good race.
Thank you for all you
Thank
do,
you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Weir.
Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
While we're still under new business, can I ask a question since it's related to a couple of these new business items?
Well,
Staff question.
If it's a procedure question, yeah. Otherwise, we've gotten through all of them. I don't want to hold us up too terribly much. But yeah, if it's a procedure question, go right ahead.
Well, it was just a quick question, and then if this isn't allowed, then just say you can't get an answer to that. So the budget amendment that we're going to have brought to us at the next council meeting for approval for what we decided to do with the Dillard request.
Yeah.
When will that reasonably be available for review? So, I mean, I'm absolutely supporting my council mates, but I want to get my arms around exactly what it contains, because I think that once that I get my arms around that, I think I'm going to want to talk to the budget committee about a couple of ideas moving forward about how to handle things. So that's why I asked the question if that's procedurally okay.
So procedurally speaking, the agenda course is released Wednesday.
Yes.
Catherine sometimes gets her stuff done the Friday before.
This was a pretty. It's a pretty easy budget amendment.
I'm not sure if everyone can see, Laura.
It's an easy budget amendment.
Yeah.
It should be something we should have in the regular agenda packet that goes out.
Sure. And then
under old business as a budget amendment.
And then what we
or
can
on the
do
consent
is,
agenda,
I think what I'm hearing is, again, just proceed, is a request once that one is been reviewed by the manager to let the council know as a whole to be able to review it. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because we didn't have anything in front of us this time. We had to sort of go on the fly.
Well, we kind of had to go on the fly too sometimes when things get submitted to us. It's not what we want, but we have to do sometimes.
Well, let's move forward with our manager's report. Mr. Livingston, floor is yours.
So you see in the manager's report what's in there. I wanted to tell you about a couple other things. On Friday, we got a notice from FEMA that they're ending certain spending and their disaster recovery, namely the FEMA BRIC program. So that's otherwise known as the Big Ditch program. So all that stormwater, the $7 million project, is gone. It's not coming back. And that, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. We also got notice on the PFOS and PFOS that, you know, that project's probably going to be, if it stands up the way it is, you know, it's a $30 million project. And I don't know how cities and counties are going to afford these things, because it's really expensive. So we're doing that study right now on the PFOS and PFOS. We're going to have, we're in the class action lawsuit. I'm signing off on that litigation on the class act. That's $3.5 million, but there's a huge funding gap there. So, you know, we're faced with some really significant challenges when it's coming to, you know, utility costs with some of these regulations and just the cost of development of utilities in general. So
these are federal dollars.
these are federal dollars, and now there was also some state dollars involved in that, which I'm assuming that they'll probably claw those back as well.
Had we reimbursed, had we used any
We have
of those dollars?
Some, not a lot. So, but that we're going to have some meetings in the next couple of days to see how, if there's any way to reimburse us for that. So I guess we can look at it glass half full. You know, hey, we weren't in the middle of a project, and I don't know what would have happened. There'll be some people that have got those situations, and they'll have to decide whether or not they want to continue it or not. That's why we're so concerned about the level of HUD funding that we receive, because you know, we don't know what's going to happen there either. So that's all I got, Mayor.
Just to be explicitly clear, we're talking about Big Ditch project, right?
That's the Big Ditch project. It's a $7 million project. It's a stream restoration and sort of a natural overlook area that was in the. So next, we've already looked at
major flood mitigation project.
Right. So and we're talking with the housing authority tomorrow to let them know what's going on. We had our contractors getting ready to start the project. We'll be letting them know that they'll. So we're making the right kind of actions, or taking the necessary actions. I just wanted you to be aware, so that you don't wonder what happened. What happened is this right here that you can read in front of you.
Thank you for your report. Appreciate it, sir. Obviously, the rest of it is included in the in his weekly reports. All right, time for mayor and council member comments. This is the first meeting of the month. We'll begin with Councilman Boyette to my right, and we'll work our way down the dais. Councilman Boyette, the floor is yours.
I had a whole stack of stuff here I was going to chat about, but in the interest of time and not to take away from my fellow council mates, since we've been here as long as we have, I'm going to cut it short. As always, thank you to our hardworking city employees, each and every one of you. You're valued and appreciated. The city couldn't run without you. And I'd like to say a special shout out, as I do sometimes, to our GIS team, and a special shout out to our code enforcement team and our minimum housing person. Those folks are doing a phenomenal job. One of the things that I campaigned on when I ran for this office was cleaning up this city and getting public safety straightened out. Public safety numbers are improving and looking good as the department ramps back up, so that's good news. But particularly the progress that's being made with code enforcement now that we have a team out there doing the work. You guys see the weekly report. I think there was 30 some vehicles last week that were removed, and the list goes on of things that's being made. So just a word of encouragement and a shout out to our code enforcement team and to our minimum housing officer and the work that they're doing. It's noticed and it's appreciated, as is the GIS team. What a leaps and bounds progress that team has made with GIS mapping and things of that nature. That's all my comments.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Taylor.
My time. All right. So tonight I have a couple of shout outs. Some of them were what Chris was talking about. First, our code enforcement and minimum housing departments. We had a list of blighted homes that were contributing to a decline in our neighborhoods and an increase in crime. We have 4 houses left to go from this particular list that we've been working on with demolition. The last 4 houses are in District 3, and as we proceed to get ready to tear these homes down, I know they have been a haven for some of our unhoused population. If you have unhoused friends or family members that frequent the areas near Piggly Wiggly, please be mindful when you see them, and remind them it will be dangerous to be around these properties and in these properties in the next 2 weeks. because, yeah, they're coming down. Next thing is, I want to talk a little bit about social media and some other things. So, first of all, everyone knows social media can be a powerful tool, but it can also be a distraction sometimes from what really matters in our lives. Likes, shares, comments, they often take attention away from things and real problems that we have at hand. So, in our city, we have some real problems. They're abundant. No one likes to get a call to hear that anything has happened to anyone in our community. We went on for so long with crime rates rising, shootings, robberies, murders on a weekly basis and a monthly basis. We heard it. We had police officers leaving. We had residents that were scared to even do small things like go to the grocery store. Crime rates are now going down. Police shortages are improving. I want everyone to know that's here and everyone that's listening that I support our police department wholeheartedly. I also support transparency. This is one reason why I was in support of the city's petition to release the body cam footage of the Day Circle incident. In case you do not know, this video footage will be available through the City of Goldsboro's standard public records request. So I want our citizens to be able to go for walks without fear of being shot or robbed. I want us to be able to get to know our police officers. I want us to be able to trust their judgment. Will these things happen? Only time will tell. Real change will come when we can recognize that we all deserve to be treated equally. Anything, in my eyes, that promotes division is the real injustice against all of us. One happy thing that I do want to talk about is April 12th. We are going to be having, it was supposed to be Pig in the Park, but now I'm hearing it's being called Pig in the Club because due to weather, it's going to be moved to the Boys and Girls Club. So April 12th, all day long, there'll be a barbecue competition. There'll be barbecue plates, a kids area, entertainment, and much more. You can find out a lot more by going to www.piginthepark.com. That's it for me.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay. District 1, I wanted to do some thank yous. I want to thank Parks and Recs for immediately getting on the situation at North End. I know that when people rent the park facility there, they are supposed to go through Parks and Recs, but sometimes they do not. And when they do not, and people do go there and have a good time, I've had some concerns with my constituents in that area, saying the aluminum foil and the cups and the paper plates were thrown in there and were thrown in their yard. And they are very good stewards of their property. They keep their grass cut, and they were very concerned about that. And when I made a call to Parks and Recs, they got out there immediately and cleaned up that park, and I'm just so thankful for that. I also want to give a shout out to Jaleesa Douglas. She's in my district. She will be graduating May 15th from the Ross program at Wayne Community, and I just want her to know that how proud I am of her. Her community is proud, and she is doing something for her family and the community and giving back. Please stay tuned for the etiquette class that will be coming up for girls and boys to help them on their eating skills and talking and etiquette. Also, I want to thank the staff and the policemen. We've been having some problems on North End off of William Street where the trucks, the 18-wheeler trucks, have been coming through the community and cutting off so that they're going through the community so that they can get to Highway 117. And that is a problem. And I want to thank the policemen for helping us with that. That's why William Street was widened, so that, they wouldn't have to do that. But it's still happening, and I want to thank the policemen for helping us with that. I want to give a shout out to Dillard Academy for the National Junior Beta Club, giving that ceremony was just awesome, and I was glad to be a part of it. Very thankful for the Citizen Academy graduation. It was awesome, and it's good to see citizens wanting to learn about their community and the city. And I want to thank Councilwoman Weeks for giving us ice cream. It was delicious. And now, I do want to say this. In District 1, my constituents and in my meetings, we have not been silent about the situation. The body cam is out now. I don't know how many people have seen it, but my constituents are very, very concerned. And it has jeopardized the community's safety and trust. And I still stand on the fact that we still need to feel safe even when we're being arrested, whoever it is. I want to read to you what one of my constituents wrote in our meeting. And it is that they would like to see more initiative with the police community. They would like to see more cooperation, and they would like to see, and the policemen are coming around in our communities, but they want to see a more friendly community policing, and they want them to take time to get to know them. I am still waiting. We are going to have another meeting. They are very disturbed by what they saw, and we continue to have talks. There are things that we can do. I want my police department to know that I do support you. I support you when you're right, but I don't support you when I feel that some things could have been done better. And we as a community have got to come together. We've got to learn to work together. I have several family members that are policemen, and I love them dearly. And I know that we all want this community to come together, and we do not want to see inappropriateness, conduct in our police department. And I am going to continue to work as hard as I can to ensure that not only District 1, but everyone feels comfortable. I am going to stand hand in hand to make sure that we as a city feel comfortable whenever we're riding out, whatever we're doing, even when we're getting arrested. And I still stand on, we need to feel safe, even when we're being arrested. There are a lot of policies and procedures that I think that can go in place. My constituents still are having conversations, and we are going to come up with some things that I will possibly be presenting to the council, because they are very, very concerned. We are in a tumultuous time, and we do not need the city of Goldsboro to be frightened. We don't need elders to be frightened to come out their doors. We don't need men of any kind to be frightened to walk down the street. We need to work together. And that is my challenge for us as a community, to work together.
Thank you.
No comment.
Councilwoman Wicks?
I want to say thank you to Mr. Octavius Murphy for heading up Citizens Academy. He did a phenomenal job, and I'm extremely grateful that he would allow all of us as a council to participate. Then the last thing is over the next 8 days, you guys have got notices that this council will be going into closed session to select our next city manager. And I'm asking all of you that are watching that if you are a believer and you believe in the power of prayer, that you would just pray for each one of us as a council member, that you would pray for divine wisdom for us and for discernment as we make this decision. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman White?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off with Eddie Edwards from District 6 got recognized for being a community ambassador for the United Way in Rocky Mount earlier this month. That's a great accolade for him. He's very busy. He's very involved in a lot of things in our community. So I salute Eddie. The Capital League will be inducting 11 leaguers on 10 May from 5 to 7 at the Goldsboro Event Center. It is a formal event, and we're going to celebrate the youth for doing positive. It's in line with our initiative as the council to get after to sowing great seed in our communities with our youth. So I salute the Kappas for that. North Carolina Department of Military and Veteran Affairs will be celebrating the month of the military child in Jacksonville, North Carolina on April 25th at 4 o'clock. We'll be partnering with our pro teams in North Carolina, giving out swag bags and other accolades for our 11 finalists for Military Child of the Year. This is not my district, so I will direct it to Councilman Boyette. Right there at the light, right there by the mall where Starbucks is and the oil. I just think that we might have to have some conversation about putting a pedestrian cross there to see if we could get something safe. Because I just saw about 3 or 4 people this week, last week, almost, have a fatality right there because they're trying to make it through the light. So,
I'll make a request.
No doubt, but I just wanted to bring it up to him because it's his district. The MSEP programs, Military Spousal Employment Program. I'm proud to say that the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs have gotten their certification. I would like to see the city take up that endeavor to actually put in the application to see if we can be the tip of the spear when it comes to supporting our spouses, because we do know, along with their husbands or wives, the actual family serve as well. And with that being said, I would like to see if we have any updates from the Friends of Seymour. I know we said that they will come quarterly, but they're supposed to be giving us something on a monthly basis or something like that, some kind of update, or quarterly, and then so we can document where those 10 hours are at monthly.
You'll be getting some here in just a few.
Yeah, I sent something out on the weekly update on that about a month ago, but I'll resend it.
All right. Okay, and then the Kappas did a reading event at Dillard Academy. That's our partner school, so that was a great event. We had 8 Kappa leaguers come out, as well as 4 Kappa men to come out and actually read to the actual Dillard. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Understood. Thank you, sir. My comments, as normal, pretty brief. I just want to say thank you to the folks that are sticking their necks out there every single day doing the work for us. Code enforcement, you've got an incredible amount of momentum right now. Keep it up. The work that we're doing, trying to clean up and support our neighborhoods, it is making a difference. To our police, to our fires, you're out. Make sure you're building those relationships. Make sure you're talking to folks. It's got to have the community support around you to be able to do your job effectively. Parks and Recreation, you're doing a fantastic job. I see the baseball teams coming around right now. Keep it up. Don't stop. And with Travel and Tourism, phenomenal job this weekend hosting a golf tournament. wonderful, wonderful event, pulling folks into Goldsboro that otherwise wouldn't have come through. So great job there. I know you had a hot, sweaty weekend, but fantastic job. I saw you out there doing your thing. So with that, council, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and properly seconded to adjourn. Council, council, remember that we are back later this week. If you're not sure about the details on that, check your calendar. With that, we stand adjourned.